It's 2022, and there's never been a better time to turn your great idea into reality than there is right now. And there's never been a better tool than Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whatever you're trying to do. You're trying to sell stuff, trying to showcase your work. You just want to put things, I don't know, what you got, photos of flowers? Put them on the internet. They got beautiful templates that you can use to frame those flowers. Whatever you're doing, use these templates. You can customize just about anything with only a few clicks and easily make a beautiful website all by yourself. But they do have customer support waiting to help you 24/7 in the rare event that you do get stuck. Head to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. People think unusual circumstances mean complicated taxes, but for TurboTax Live experts, that's what makes things interesting. Maybe you were a full-time employee who decided to freelance this year, or maybe you started driving rideshare after your 9-to-5 job. Luckily, TurboTax Live has experienced tax experts dedicated to answering all of your tax questions and finding every deduction for you. TurboTax Live experts are ready to help you with your unique tax situation and get you the best tax outcome. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. You do your thing, they've got your taxes. Intuit TurboTax Live. Here we go. It's Tuesday, January 11th, 2022.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's my year. It's
my
year.
11122. Is today the 369 portal day that I keep seeing on TikTok? Is that today? Did I forget to write my things down on a piece of paper and then burn it at the end of the day?
Okay.
So I already fucked this up.
I just heard 369 and I started thinking of the Yin Yang Twins and Mike Jones, and I just got transported to a much more magical time in my life.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I could facilitate that for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. And for everyone else, it is still Tuesday. Hi, this is the Giant Bombcast. I'm Jeff Gerstmann. It's the only video game podcast in the world. We're the last ones left. Congratulations to everyone. We made it.
Hey, that means we're the best.
That's right. Well, we always were, but now
definitively.
That's right. Definitively. Jan Ochoa is here, overalled up.
Yep. I don't gotta. If we get down to it, I might take a strap off. Or I might put another set of overalls on and then cross those up.
A little tasteful, like off both shoulders.
Oh yeah, like look at that, like
a little yeah.
Red carpet style.
Mm-hmm.
What if I cross them up?
Ooh, gonna strangle yourself.
Yeah. This is a bad time. This hurts already.
That's the only way I can finish is when I cross the overall straps.
Oh Jesus.
Finish a match. Finish a match is what he means.
Yeah. Finish a match in my closet with the belt.
With the strap on.
Oh Jesus.
Oh no.
Oh, this is the wrong podcast. That's on Thursday.
All right, no, Thursday. This is your In Excess podcast. When was the last time that cool airbrushed overalls were in? Was it straight up Belle Biv DeVoe era? Has it come back since and been out? Is it now out again? Can we bring that back?
Well, Powerhouse Hobbs on AEW.
Yeah,
he's rocking them. He's rocking.
I guess yeah. He's wrestler. I can't. I don't want to say that wrestlers are unfashionable, but I think some of them are stopped there wearing Zubaz and fanny packs. So I don't know if I can necessarily use that if we use that as a sign, I never would have gotten rid of all my jean shorts.
Sure.
Fair.
Yeah. So I don't know that I can use that, but let's bring that back. Jeff Bakalar, did you ever own a pair of airbrushed overalls?
Can't say I did.
That said Belle Biv DeVoe on the ass or Poison on the ass.
No.
reason.
believe it or not, that kind of apparel never graced my wardrobe.
What is the what's the East Coast young Jeff Bakalar like? When you stand in front of a movie theater wearing like a parka, looking real tough,
Ooh,
like what do you know?
year? What year are we talking about? Because
Eighth grade, like what like into high school. What's the?
So well before that, because I want to do 2 generations of it.
Okay.
I want to talk about skids first.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're aware of skids? No.
It's like those like soaps.
No. What are soaps?
Oh, soaps are
Soap
so
shoes.
sick. Hell yeah.
Oh, like
shoes
the grinding
with-
shoes?
Yeah, grinding shoes.
no,
Yeah.
that's borderline psychotic. I'm talking about skids are essentially like they let everyone get away with wearing pajama pants all the time. They were like I feel like they were elastic, like patterned, almost flannelly sort of pants.
Huh.
And you were like, "Yo, I can go to the mall, have gym class, and then maybe a nice dinner all on the same day without changing my pants." They're called skids.
Oh, with
And
a
then-
Z.
Yeah.
Skids with a Z.
Yeah, with a Z. And then I want to
Oh.
take you to my freshman year of high school, which is around 96. Jinkos were obviously a thing. I was never like the let's impair my walk Jinkos.
Mhm.
I was more of like, so Jinkos made jeans that fit real nice too. Like people don't realize, people only think those like big old chimney pipes. Right?
Yeah, but
But
they just
no,
they made regular ass pants as well.
They made regular ass pants with like in the pocket that little J right below the pocket opening, like khakis, like kind of like slim fit Jinkos. Like you could wear those and not look like a lunatic. And I was wearing those. I was like, look, I cannot pull off the chimney stacks. It's not what I'm going to be doing at
Yeah.
14. At 15.
Got good news about skids. They still
Yeah?
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on
Go
the
to
site right now.
Go to Skids NYC, and they have overalls with cute patterns on them.
Oh my God.
Y'all,
I'm-
yo,
What? Same logo
Yeah.
and everything.
and they have bucket hats.
Yeah.
Bucket hats are back.
Bucket
This-
hats are
we
back.
all
Yeah.
know this.
Dude,
It's official.
I want to investigate the botanical collection. We'll get there later.
These are
yeah.
cute.
But anyway, that's the Janko situation.
Okay.
I was and then like Dickies, just Dickies for,
sure,
for a
yeah.
decade, literally
Yeah.
a decade.
Yeah.
And then back to jeans. Yeah.
Like you may still. I feel like you will wear Dickies again at some point in your life. Like I feel like that's going to happen for you.
So the only Dickies brand clothing that I occasionally break out every now and then is this unbelievably beautifully worn in Dickies work coat that I
Mhm.
had, that I bought in all black with like the red logo in the pocket. This thing, it was like $35 and I wore it for 20 years. It's the most sound apparel investment I've ever made in my entire life. And every now and then I'll bring it out, if I'm getting a little dirty, if I know I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna be dirty.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's not even black anymore. It's just like a real fine charcoal gray, just because of the
Because it's just
wear and
worn
tear of
in.
time.
Nice.
I feel like I lose more jackets than like they disintegrate or like grow out of them or anything like that. Like I leave them somewhere and go, shit.
Yeah.
I lose most of my good jackets that way. Jason,
Oh no. Yes, sir.
like we you seem like a guy, you like grew up wearing like big trip pants, right? Like you're like straight up Kingdom Hearts, like just the big straps, just like all that stuff, right?
Afraid,
Like you're
afraid not. No, I was
Weird.
punk t-shirt wearing, trench coat, smoking outside the school.
Mhm.
Real cool kid. Real
Yeah.
cool kid.
real Jay and Silent Bob type.
Yeah, seriously. Had the long ponytail up on top, but shaved around the side. That skater
Okay.
haircut.
Yeah, like you were a metal drummer. I get
Yes.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was rocking in 8th grade.
Nice.
The first time. Also the second time in 8th grade because I failed.
Nice.
8th grade.
Well, like
Okay.
keep the style the same and just then that's everything else will fall into place. That's all you got to do. Jess, what's the style choice? What's the 8th grade style choice?
Oh man, talking about those Invader Zim shirts, very large, way too big on me. And Giant the Homicidal Maniac, giant flowy t-shirts from Hot Topic. Because I was 110 pounds and very, very, very thin. So everything looked huge on me, like a tent anyway. And like, I don't know, just whatever pants were around. I really was not fashion conscious at all. And I was just a wannabe goth and could not be goth because I went to Catholic schools. So all I could do was admire the alternative and goth girls from afar.
Catholics are the ultimate goths. Everyone knows
not
that.
Allow it.
That's right. Yes, you try to wear it. It's just there's some force keeping you from truly embracing it.
Satan.
That's That's probably what it was.
Probably that.
That's probably what it was.
But yeah, I never had enough Hot Topic stuff, and I did not have a huge allowance, so it was a tough time for adolescent me.
Had to make some tough calls, I'm sure.
Couldn't dye my hair. That's why I'm too old to be having pink hair right now, and I'm still doing it because I wasn't allowed to have it. Yeah, making up. So exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Now that you mention it, I was. When did I start bleaching my hair? I was probably late 20s at that point. So yeah.
Oh, we could go down that road if you want.
It's just like one night in a VCR repair place, we bleached my hair in the back. They had a sink.
Oh damn!
Nice. I was very much into doing. Well, I was just doing jet black, like the blackest I could make my hair.
Oh wow,
interesting.
Huh.
I used to do like a dark navy blue also, but it didn't. It looked black, so I was just like, what am I even doing? What am I fucking beating around the bush here? Let's go for the gold, baby.
I don't know why I never went like black, like my hair
Satan.
and all that stuff. Satan, I guess. But like, there were other girls that had dyed black hair in my school because like that was one of the acceptable colors, because it was like a natural color,
right? Yeah.
But for some reason, I never went blonde because there was too many mean girls that were blonde that I was like, I don't want to be associated with them. And like, I never went dark because my mom had black hair and I was like, I don't want to look like my mom, because you're a teen and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
So just mousy brown and miserable.
All right then, mousy brown and miserable. That's the story.
The title of this one. Write it down, Jan.
I already did.
Why don't we get into some video games?
Oh, you guys can't hear the sound anymore.
Oh, that's right. We can't hear the sound anymore.
It's
But
playing.
I can hear it playing.
I feel it
Yeah,
in
feel it.
my soul.
I'll just get a piano and I'll just start playing it.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh.
Or just pantomime it so that we can see it as a visual cue so we know when it's played. No, I mean like interpretively, like interpretive, like a...
The ukulele out.
Oh, God. I don't know where that is. We don't need that.
Get out.
Okay. Ember. Not a ton of new games right now. Not a ton of new games, but Ember did come to Game Pass after some amount of time on PC. Janice, this is a fighters game.
It turns out 2021 might have been a hot year for firefighters in terms of video game representation. There was like the little Jelly Bean firefighter game that someone from Dead Cells worked on that put out.
Right.
But Ember was in early access for quite a while, as I understand. It is a 4-player cooperative firefighting game that kind of has the premise is presented in a jokey way, but it kind of makes me sad because what's really hot and what's an industry that is really booming? The gig economy. And what if, instead of trusting assigned firefighters that have studied fire science to put out fires, you just get a ping on your phone and then you can go put out a fire and stuff.
Like pull up Fiverr or something and say, "Hey, I got a fire. Can you guys come over quick?"
It's called
First one here.
Fire, not Fiverr now.
Yeah,
So
that's. I mean, volunteer some smaller municipalities have volunteer firefighter forces, and isn't that just the same thing? You're just like hanging out at the house, and you're like, oh shit, there's a fire. We gotta go get a bucket. I guess I don't know. I assume they train them.
I would hope you get at least some type of certification, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a neat little. I managed to convince my homies to like check it out because it's on Game Pass now. It is cross-platform, so if you did want to play with people on PS5 and Xbox. I believe that should work. I did have a friend. I was playing with two homies that had they were on Xbox and I was on PC. The levels range from just simply putting out fires to you have to use your ladders and some platforming to kind of scale a building. The whole tone of the game is pretty jokey, and it kind of makes me feel weird because, you know, fires are always fires, particularly in California, are, you know, a hot topic. I didn't mean that one.
I was gonna say it if you didn't. So,
so it's weird that it's just being presented in such a jokey slapstick manner. And there are other missions where you not only have to put out the fire, but you have to rescue people in the burning buildings and just toss them out. Like you'll get a bunch of people sitting on toilets that you can kind of like throw onto a slide, and from the slide, it almost reaches like the drop-off zone. I don't. It's an easy recommend because it's on Game Pass. If you already have Game Pass,
Yeah.
Cool.
if you were on like PS5, I am.
Get an Xbox.
Yeah, go get an Xbox. Go get Game Pass. Mostly,
I'm telling a lot of people to get Xboxes lately. Like all my friends, basically.
Yeah.
The ones who only have a PlayStation. I'm just like, you know what? You're a grown ass adult person. Like, if you can find an Xbox, get one. I know you can afford it. Don't act like you can't afford it. This is not the conversation we're having.
yeah.
It sounds like a number of. It sounds like consoles, like over the last week anyway, were in stock a little bit more often. I definitely saw people saying like, "Hey, there's been Xboxes in stock over here for a while," and like PlayStation 5 restocks in multiple places as well. So I wonder,
Yes.
we're recovering from the holidays now.
yeah,
I
or
guess.
just like some boat showed up and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got
This is the one.
yeah, we got those." Trader Joe's Brussels sprouts. No, that's a different boat.
Oh,
But yeah, Ember, it's like I guess, you know, because if you already have Game Pass, it is an easy checkout. It is a little janky in some spots. Like I'd have certain musical cues or audio cues just not work. And then kind of like we totally completed an objective, and it wasn't quite ticking off that we did it. We just had to move like one of the people we rescued a little bit to the right of the drop-off zone.
Sure.
But you know, overall it works if you want to put out fires with your homies. There
I
are
don't think I realized when you were talking about this that this looks like this is a first-person game, right?
yes, it's a first-person game.
Okay.
And there are certain missions where you're also delivering food while you're putting out a fire.
Little side hustle. All
You know,
right.
nothing but side hustles in Ember.
Side hustles all the way down.
It's the dystopian future of the
Is
gig
this
economy.
why most of the time when I order Taco Bell to be delivered that the drink doesn't show up because someone used it to put out a fire on the way here?
100%. Or they had
Why
to
can't
quench
it
their
be that-
thirst from putting out a fire.
or
Well, they
killing
probably
in-
needed it
one.
more than I do.
In an ideal world, my Taco Bell would be delivered by a hunky firefighter, and there would be no downside. But
Ooh.
There's a grandma on
Same.
this, so almost there.
Yeah.
Can we just interject real quick? Talking about delivering fast food, I just feel like that defeats the purpose of fast food.
You know, it sucks. Like it's I don't like doing it, but it is like literally at the end of the day when we put the kids down, there's a certain amount of like this house needs to be completely quiet, and I can't exactly go out and traipse about and go get food on my own or make a bunch of noise banging pots and pans around.
Okay.
So it has been something that I have been leaning on here and there over the past handful of months here, and sometimes it's fine. And the things you learn: don't order French fries
Mm.
because
Well,
they don't keep.
There are places that know how to deliver French fries.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
like
it's
those
fine.
places then hand it off to a person who delivers a bunch of food, you know, for a bunch of different
Sure.
places, and they sometimes will have 3 deliveries ahead of yours, and you just don't know that until it's too
You know
late.
it.
So
Yeah.
it's yeah. So it's a roll of the dice. There's just certain types of food that if you know in your head they don't keep, you just have to kind of like go like, okay, am I willing to take the plunge on this and see how it goes?
Are you fine with
and-
like a mozzarella stick that won't have the cheese pull?
It's
Yeah.
just
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I would eat. I would.
I'm a
yes.
stickler for that.
Okay.
Gotta
you
the
almost have
cheese
to
pull.
put your oven on the second
Mm-hmm.
you place the order.
And just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
throw it in
Basically
there a
what you're
little bit
doing.
afterwards. That might not be the
You
worst
know?
idea in the world there. But
Speaking of taking the plunge on delivery food, I decided to pick up food instead of having it delivered because the place I was ordering it from was too close to justify some schmuck delivering it to me. I'll just go and get it. And it was also kind of like rainy and gross out, and I didn't realize that it was freezing rain and that the last 5 or 6
fun.
steps that I had to go down to get to my car were all ice. And I, long story short, fell down 6 or 7 flights of stairs 2 days ago.
was it like in a fun comedy way?
Yeah.
Like you're just like bumping your ass, just dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun?
it was. Thank
Okay.
God. I did not hurt myself seriously. This bandage is from something unrelated, which is also ridiculous timing. But I made such a fucking racket falling down these 6 stairs that every neighbor came out and was like looking like to see what had happened to me. Like
Aw.
the old lady downstairs who was deaf heard me and came out and was just like, "Are you okay, sweetie?" I was like, "I fell down the stairs. I'm fine. I'm fine. Go inside. Don't look at me."
Was there
Don't
Why
look
are
at
they
me.
salting your steps? They gotta salt your steps.
I know they didn't salt. There's like an overhang sort of on the steps, so they didn't salt They didn't salt any of the steps, thinking the rain would not like go at an angle and hit those steps. It did, and yeah, I
Okay.
totally spilled all of my shit down this. It was just a
Gross.
mess. My partner
Sorry.
thought I had died. It made such a horrid noise. Yeah, and I didn't want somebody who was delivering my food to suffer the same fate. So you're welcome, whoever was
Very nice of you.
otherwise
Yeah.
destined to extremely die at my stairs.
Yeah, that's yikes.
I'm glad the old
Um,
lady lives on the first floor then.
I know,
Yeah, yeah.
honestly.
Live low is the answer there.
Mm.
Well, when you weren't bumping your way downstairs, it sounds like you found time to finish Inscryption.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a lot, so why don't you just how do you feel
Yeah,
about how
I'm
it
not-
all kind of comes together in the end? Do you feel like it was worth the trip and all that stuff? And we all know
I
it does
wanna-
some stuff, but
You
I still don't know how to
I
spell
wanna
this
have,
game
like-
properly. Sorry.
yeah.
No one does.
Why? I still want to have like a spoiler cast with you, Jan, because I know you beat it. And that'd be fun. Just saying. Think about it. But yeah, it was good. It was fun. It did neat stuff, as everybody knows already. And I feel like it is the natural kind of. It's not a conclusion. I think there's going to be more stuff in the David Mullins verse, the
Mhm.
game Funaverse, and stuff like that. But it's a really good, like, you can tell what this developer has learned from his previous games and applied to this one. So there's definitely like a line of refinement that has hit a very nice point with Inscryption, and I'm glad everybody's really into it because I've liked this guy's game since Pony Island. So I'm happy for that. And yeah, that's basically the gist. Everybody's heard tons
Would
of
you-
Inscryption talk.
Jess, would
so.
you recommend Pony Island? Because this is the first release from this dude I've checked out.
I definitely would. It probably going
It's not
from
the-
Inscryption back to this though
Yeah,
might be a little like it might seem a little like I don't know, quaint or too simple or something.
Like I don't want to say it's less
still-
of a game, but it's not.
It's
it-
it's definitely got less stuff going on in
Yeah.
it. But for the time when it came out, you know, it was
Sure.
very, very meta for its time, very, very fun little secret things going on and stuff like that. But if you compare it to Inscryption, it's like the chutzpah that Inscryption has, this has like 10% of the chutzpah. Because like he was first trying out these things basically and dabbling and figuring like what can he get away with and what will people actually like or hate. But it
I
still has
think I
some
like
good
the
little
motifs
puzzle
and
elements in it.
stuff of Pony Island more. I mean, whatever. I don't like Inscryption, but like
Yeah.
but I think I like the style and the motifs of Pony Island more on top of that
Yeah,
too. For
like,
whatever
and
that's
also-
worth. Like,
And also, I think like Pony Island is a little more approachable because a lot of people just straight up don't like card games at all, deck builder games at all. I'm surprised that it turns out I do. This game kind of cued me into like, hey, maybe I do like this sort of stuff. But Pony Island's a little easier to get into because it is way shorter. It has less like iteration sort of gameplay to it where people might get frustrated about like, oh, I have to do this again because I did it wrong, you know. And it has more of like it's got platformer, you know, arcadey elements to it, which I feel like people are a little more open to than like cerebral deck building. Try to break the game with your deck building stuff. So yeah, I would still recommend Pony Island, but it might seem like a strange downgrade to if you played Inscryption
Sure.
and you're going down to this. So I mean, temper your expectations, I guess is what I would say with that. Like this was like one of his, I think this was his first, Pony Island was his first released game that wasn't like a game jam thing. I'm not super sure. Don't quote me on that. So
That sounds right, but I don't know for sure either. But yeah, the Inscryption I think they announced it. Sold 1 million copies. So
yeah,
Wow.
that's a pretty crazy. You think about what Pony Island is, and you think about that trajectory to get to Inscryption and be like, oh, by the way, like this thing is still crazy in a lot of those same ways, but also you've hit upon it in such a way, or whether it was Devolver marketing it and getting it out there more, or whatever, like it got out there in a pretty big way, which is kind of nuts.
I do think it would be interesting to go back to Pony Island from Inscryption because you can kind of see like the little narrative DNA that's going back through his games, because there's definitely a narrative, mysterious through line that goes all the way up through Inscryption, and also includes the Hex, which is his second game, I believe. Again, don't quote me on this. I'm not super sure. I didn't look this up. And the Hex is probably my least favorite game of the three. But it still does so many neat things. I can't like fault it. It has even more different genres of games that you wouldn't expect to pop up. It's like, oh, we're playing this type of game now. Like this guy put all these different types of gameplay in this thing. Like that's incredibly absurdly ambitious. And I think like he learned a lot from that. So he kind of like pared down how many game genres were going to show up in Inscryption to focus and refine them better. So like you can kind of see like how he's grown as like a developer, a programmer, while still keeping this kind of mysterious narrative through line throughout all three games. It's like really crazy stuff. Like I do recommend all of his games, but like from a refinement point of view, you might be disappointed going from Inscryption and working backwards.
That makes sense. Bakalar, you've written something here that just says Dumb Friends Co-op Quest Update.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I have a dumb update about my dumb friends. And
Are these your Call of Duty buddies? Are these your Warzone posse?
Your backup buddies?
Yep. All that. All the above. These dumb idiot friends.
Baka bros.
Yep. Yep. So I don't know what it was, but we've been looking, just to catch you up if you haven't been paying attention, we've been looking for another game to play as a group of maybe 4 to 6 idiots.
Oh.
And because Call of Duty is kind of broken, I don't know if you know, like Call of Duty's broken.
So is this invisible skin thing that's going on?
I could not even make a short list of the things that are wrong with this game right now. From the matchmaking to inexplicable, like half the time I can't see my friends. Like we're both on, like the Call of Duty servers will not connect us. We will be online according to PlayStation, but within the Activision world, we are not. It's terrible, and it's kind of at the point where it's unplayable.
Huh.
That's right, unplayable.
Wow. Damn.
So we had to act fast, and fast we did act, because someone had the idea, hey, why don't we play this? Why don't we play this Rocket League game? So there I am, like, I know that game. It's 6 years old, 7 years old, maybe.
Did you invite little Bakalar to razz every single person playing that game, like he razzed me when I played Rocket League with him?
Yeah, he's got to take that down a peg or two. But yes,
he was brutal to me.
Yeah,
Jesus,
I wonder where he learned that.
It's not for me. It's not for me.
It was coming for me. God,
tear down is where he learned that. No, so I was like, sure, yeah, let's play. And sure enough, as you probably already know, that game's fucking great. And especially with how many people are still playing that game. Yeah. And for me, the fun part was playing with 6 people who had 0 experience.
Oh, wow.
And like hearing the discovery of like, yo, you can fly. Like you can fly if you do the jump and the boost in the right way. And I'm like, yeah, you can do all kinds of crazy shit if you really know how to do it. And then just like sending along like some highlight videos of like the pros doing it. It's just, it's been a fun couple of weeks playing,
Awesome.
you know, Rocket League.
I
So
think,
that's
yeah,
been-
I had so much fun with Rocket League when it first came out, and then I hit a wall with it where I was just like, okay, either I need to devote my life to this or I need to stop playing it. Because like you just start getting to that point where you're like, okay, you start seeing the more skilled players, and you're like, I'm not gonna be able to do that.
Yep.
So just to give you a background, right? Rocket League came out in the summer of 2015.
Oh,
Like 2 months after my kid was born. He's still playing this game, and he's a lot, and like he loves this game now, right? It's just, and it's free now too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like, do people know? I feel like most people do know.
yeah, after
it's a
Epic
free-to-play
bought
game
it,
now.
they moved it. Like you can still, if you had it on Steam, you can still have it on Steam, but you cannot acquire it on Steam anymore. But they made it free to play, moved it over to Epic, and everything kind of. It's on consoles and stuff too, obviously. But
it is still a force to be reckoned with. And yeah, I mean, we're having a blast with it. So it's been a really interesting way to kind of get swallowed up back in that world.
you should try to get them into Rocket League Sideswipe for phones and see how that goes. I played a little bit of that when it first came out, and I was like, you know what, this is neat. This is a neat take on that concept. But then like I feel like with most mobile games, I get to a point where I'm like, I don't want to play this with a touch screen.
Yeah,
I should really dig out a controller and Bluetooth, blah 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 blah, and then I just never do that. So
it's a good game. I thought showing it to my kid was going to be like a game changer. I thought it was going to like literally change the way, you know, he felt about car rides, right? And he's just like, get this shit out of my face. Like, what is this?
Wow.
He's just like, what, one dimension? Are you serious? And
it's a baby's toy.
Yeah, he really did scoff at it. So he's not really jazzed on it. If I could just hold the floor for a couple seconds more, there is a game he is newly infatuated with, and as he sort of maybe perhaps influenced some of our content in the last week or so, he is now, you know, I guess as ridiculous as it may sound, maybe he's a little late to this party, but he is now an Among Us motherfucker.
Oh,
And this dude,
hell yeah!
This dude. So what's great about this game is
Can we play with him? He'll be so funny.
He's already speaking the vernacular for a while because I think that's bled over into
when we were playing Rocket League, he was calling me sus.
Yeah, I don't think he maybe knew exactly what that meant.
He did not know what it meant. I was just calling it to him back, and it was hilarious.
I think,
but I was like, man, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of months before he gets into Among Us.
Totally. First he thought it was humongous, and then it
no, they're really small.
Yeah, they are incredibly small. So the vernacular overflowed into elementary schools around the country, and he's the streamer, the YouTube person that he watches occasionally was playing a lot of Among Us, and he's like, I think it's time that I did this, and you know,
I'm ready to lie to people.
Yeah, that's the thing. But here's the one thing, right? I knew what the game was. I'd never really. I watched like maybe like the AOC thing, right? And that was sort of it.
Yeah.
I never played it really, but I knew exactly what it was. Like there was no. So I knew what it was going into it, and we were playing it. It is a lot of fun. But what's cool is it is like he's a pretty good reader, but it is forcing him to read so much right now that it's like you kind of can't even like say like, hey, stop doing all this reading, you know. Like he's, you know, and he's doing the quick chat only thing, so it's like the radial sort of things where he has to choose the phrase that he wants to say, and you got to act kind of quick. So he's, you know, he's understanding what everyone's trying to communicate. And
this is the new Mavis Beacon.
Totally, it's the Rosetta Stone of video games. So he's like, you know, I thought like, oh, you're going to go into these public rooms and it's just going to be like idiots. But like the vast majority of games that he's gone into have been like played the quote unquote right way, and everyone's sort of working together, and it's been really great. And everyone is fucking sus, man. That is it. Like that's it.
Wow.
There's no getting around it.
I mean, that's a good lesson.
Turns out everyone in real life is a little sus themselves.
These are important life lessons to learn, that someone in your posse is killing people.
Totally. It used to be everything I learned in life, I learned in kindergarten. Well, everything I learned in life that I needed to know, I learned in Among Us.
There you go.
Is what happens. So
I was gonna say, if you're still looking for some kind of co-op-y kind of thing for your posse, the Anacrusis is out this week.
there you go. That might be an uphill battle for me personally because of the type of people that I choose to surround myself with. But
is it just not broed out enough? Like are they just gonna look at it and go, what is this 70s sci-fi alien crap? I need AK-47s. Is it like that? Is it like I need AK-47s or real looking cars that jump and fly? That's
You're
it.
being so generous with that very specific description of 70s sci-fi. Like it wouldn't even get to that. It would be freaking like waved off for way less of a description. I don't know.
Aliens, the stupid.
Yeah, like I just can never tell with these idiots. So we'll see. But I'm definitely gonna play it. Yeah, I know. Turns out you should pick better friends, Jeff. Yeah. I'll try it out for sure.
Yeah, I messed with that a little bit last night, just playing solo because I was kind of curious about how that is. Because I'd only played it 4-player with Will Smith, who is working on it, along with Chet and all those Stray Bombay folks. And yeah, it'll put AI in your match for you and run around with them and all that sort of stuff. So you can, in theory, play it alone. I don't know how great the AI is per se, but because I got interrupted, but messed around with that a little bit. And all right, are we gonna have a Wordle update here? Is this?
I gotta have a Wordle with a certain Jeff Bakalar.
Okay.
I mean,
You posted something shocking the other day on Twitter. I was shocked and appalled. Shock, by the way, an excellent 5-letter word. But you somehow do not know if you are listening. Oh,
excellent is not a 5-letter word.
No.
You said excellent was a 5-letter word?
No, I said shock.
Oh, sorry.
Don't you put words in my mouth.
Sorry.
But for those of you who might be listening to this in the distant future, where 2 months from now when no one's playing this,
or the
piece of shit game
past,
2 months is bold. I was gonna say, like, yeah. Like I say, if you in the next
2 weeks,
15 days, yeah.
It's already on Facebook. It's dead to me already. So it went from Twitter to Facebook. That is the life cycle of any meme, and that's when you know it stopped being funny. But I'm still playing Wordle. That being said, yeah, the Wordle is a thing that we used to play all the way back in 2022, the before times of whatever next calamity it is coming up next. But you're trying to guess a 5-letter word in 6 tries, and it tells you which letters are close, which letters are in the correct spot, which letters are not involved in this thing. And that's 5 letters times 6. That's 30 opportunities to get some sort of letter on the board. Jeff Bakalar posted his Wordle lineup of emojis. Not a single hit. You have 26 letters in the whole goddamn alphabet, Bakalar. What was your tactic? How are you playing this game that you did not get a single non-gray tile in this thing?
Sometimes you try and force stuff,
What is the bigger accomplishment? Is it not
being
guessing...
so dumb you didn't get a single letter?
Let me explain. Is the greater accomplishment not guessing a single letter in all of those tries, which you just explained how mathematically ridiculous that is? Or is it that no one understands my sense of humor and the fact that I don't need to explain my art to you, Jess? Okay?
I'm owned. It is
this
I.
was a joke. Perhaps I'm really good at Wordle, but don't brag about it.
Damn.
Perhaps I'm obsessed with Wordle.
I hereby resign from the Bombcast for being too trolled.
I mean, I thought people would know I was making a joke right away. But no. Almost, actually, no one did.
Hookline and sinker. You guys know something about me? I am incredibly gullible.
Yes, any and every one-on-one I've ever had with Jess, I have to immediately walk back everything I say. It's like, no, I'm just kidding.
I am so dumb. I am so gullible. It is shocking. Nobody fuck with me ever. I will believe you 1,000,000% if you say it to my face in like a deadpan way. I don't know what's mentally wrong with me. It's a problem.
You're too trusting. It's that Catholic education.
I'm very trusting.
I mean, you're very bad at Among Us.
I'm so bad at Among Us. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Maybe I'm the murderer.
Terrible. I'm terrible at. Yeah, I'll be like, shit. Am I? Damn.
Wait a second. Am
I gotta repost. There was I played Among Us once, well, a couple times, but once with friends, and it got clipped. My friend swore to God they saw me going into an event, and my response was just to be like, "What? Like, no!" And that made me sound so suspicious that I got ejected immediately. I did not do it, but like I have no poker face, and I'm also the world's most gullible person. So welcome to being me.
Well, they
Mortifying.
lost because they ejected someone who wasn't. I mean, that's
Yeah.
they screwed up. That's on them.
And this is how we turn you into the best poker player in the world. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
This was very satisfying, though.
The Wordle
I do
thing,
hate April Fool's Day, by the way. I hate April Fool's Day. I am like on high alert. I just don't go
everyone
online.
does now. I think people are just like so done with it. I don't know. The Wordle stuff is weird because I saw like a few different strategies going around of like instead of having one starter word, having two, because you're eliminating all the vowels and stuff like that. And I think that's shitty. Because like you can, because if okay, there's a hard mode toggle. I don't toggle it on, but what it does is it prevents you from typing in words that do not use all of your past hints. So you can't just like fudge it and just type in whatever you want to eliminate more possibilities. You have to build off of your previous results. I don't turn that on, but I do play that way. I'm going to say 99% of the time. Occasionally I will use like if I know E isn't in it, but I need to spell a word with an E in it because I'm pretty sure the rest of these letters are right. Like sometimes I will do that, but to see people go like, oh, I type in this word and then this word and then I know, like that's just like, what are you even doing at that point? I think that's a bunch of B crap personally.
So I would like to actually, piggyback off that. I think there's things to discuss with this game. I think there are things that like need to be fleshed out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it is hit a groundswell, it's hit a point where everyone is familiar with it. Like you hinted last week, it is very much that color guessing game mastermind, but just words,
letters. Yep.
I think there should be points. I think you should get more points for finishing it faster, and that should be part of it.
Okay, I could see that.
I also think it's too easy. I've done every single one since I talked shit on it, and it's been not a problem. I don't think I've ever made it to like the sixth guess. I'm just saying. I just think it's it's deceiving. It is a deceiving, sort of like proposition at the start, right? Because it appears like, oh, geez, any 5-letter word, but very quickly, like the math adds up because your chances get narrowed and the possible solutions get narrowed so quickly that you're like, oh, all right, you're pointed in the right direction way quicker than you think.
Yes,
unless you somehow guess Xanax 5 times in a row, and then you're just in a hole.
Oh, I'm not guessing.
But yeah, like I think there's something about it that is, so I don't know, right? Like I feel like everyone solves it, everyone gets it.
I see some people that don't, but generally yes. Like I think what yesterday's had a Q in it, and I think that probably added one turn to everyone's score because it's a low frequency. But if you're just like understanding the basic concepts of letter frequency and the construction of words in the English language, yes, you're getting it almost every time.
You can eliminate so many letters so quickly.
I got today's in 3. I got yesterday's, which had a Q in it, in 6. So it's but at the same time, I don't know. I don't necessarily want it to be harder. Ian Bogost on Twitter had a good idea that was it should force you to have one letter in your first guess, like and it doesn't tell you if that letter is right or wrong. It just says like, hey, your first word has to have the second letter needs to be R, to prevent people from having set starter words that they use. To force you to kind of think on your feet a little bit out of the gate, which I think is kind of an interesting twist on it as well.
Yeah, or like the cookie thing where it'll know, like, you can't guess that one. You did that one yesterday. You can't do like 2 words in a row or something like that.
Right. Yeah,
know,
maybe something like that would be, that might be a way to go. Yeah, I don't know, but also it's I do it so we get up to, my wife gets up to nurse the baby, and the baby sleeps in here, so I am up as well at around 1 and at around 4, and so I wake up around 1, and if I remember to do it, I knock out the Wordle there while all that's going down. And sometimes if it takes a little longer, I then have to wake back up at 4 and make one more guess. And so doing it in the middle of the night when I'm just like still fucked up and half asleep makes that a little more interesting.
Your own hard mode there.
Then just like, I'm gonna have some coffee and stimulate myself and then think about words. Like, no, I'm just like one eye closed because I don't want to fully wake up. Like, just Rebus. I don't know. Fuck.
I didn't even know the word rebus. I put it in because I was like, this is the puzzle. Maybe there's a word called rebus. And it was
This
a word
is the
called
only word
rebus.
I can say?
Then I looked it up and I was like, oh, those things.
Yeah, like
they have
classic
a name,
concentration.
They have a
It's a
name
rebus.
for them. Oh, okay.
Do you think they could
Rebus.
maybe like charge $1 for like a Wordle subscription and people would bite? Like, hey, you get 3 today.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's-
probably.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Did you see there was some fucker put it on the App Store, and it's not the guy that made
there's
it.
a ton of knockoffs already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
and the first one I saw was somewhat. So there was one knockoff that just let you generate as many as you wanted to do over and over again, and
Yeah,
you
but they
could
weren't
even
charging
increase
for
the
it
letter
or
count. No, they weren't charging
had
for it.
ads or anything.
But then someone did a knockoff of that one and put it on another website, and I think like put a bunch of ads on it and shit like that. So it's just like that thing is gonna get like 2048'd all to hell. It's gonna get threesed the fuck up.
Mhm.
And
That and Snacktive, all kinds of copycats.
Oh my
let me
God.
tell you.
Well, that I don't
congratulations
mind.
congratulations to Kevin Hart for getting in on the ground floor of Snacktive.
Totally.
What a entrepreneurial
What a deal.
mind he is there. Jason, you've been
Yes.
digging through some backlog stuff. Anything in particular stand out that you've been
Slogging away. Yeah.
getting through?
We started playing Eastward, and I'm finding myself really into that. It's a kind of a Secret Mana style action RPG.
Mhm.
And you've got like active combat and whatnot. You can choose to aim wherever in a circle, in a radius around your character. It's cool. It's puzzle based. I like the dialogue a lot. It's got a cool premise. This miner guy like came across this little girl that was like encased in like a crystal or whatever, and he's kind of taken her under his wing, and well, things evolved from there. But yeah, definitely check that out. That's really cool. I've been putting most of my time into that.
And
but
that's
also
what is the name? Did you say Eastward?
Eastward.
Eastward.
Yeah, Eastward.
Eastward. Yes. Okay.
I imagine I have to go eastward at some point. Also, my son got me into Lego Batman 3,
Nice.
and I hate him for it. 'Cause I hate those games.
Real Joker
Yeah.
energy, huh?
Yeah, seriously. Oh man, he loves them, and God bless him. But I have a very hard time playing those games. They're very obtuse, and if you miss like one little pixel on that screen, sometimes that's when you got to hit to make the little blocks jump so you can build something.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes that's like you for kids games. There's just occasional stuff that's just like sometimes I think it's like the adult mind is just too focused on like, well, clearly it's got to be this bang, 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 and you
Right.
miss something. Whereas like kids are maybe like digging around in every corner or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's those Lego games are bad. They made them talk. It's a bad mistake.
As soon as they started talking, that's when I hopped
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we don't need that. No one needs that.
But yeah, that's it for me. Backlog slog.
Cool.
Backslog.
Backslog. All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. There's a boatload. Well, I mean, there's some big news. Some stuff
Some
happened.
chunky news.
Some news chunks after the break. What are you doing? It's January. You know what that means. It's a new year. And I know you're saying, hey, this year seems a lot like the last year and the one before that. But I'm telling you, it's up to you to break the cycle. It's up to you to start fresh. It's up to you to turn your dreams into a reality.
And Squarespace is just the tool, the craftsman's tool that you can use to make all of that happen. Because Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project. What are you passionate about? What do you like? Or maybe you hate something. Maybe you're passionate about a thing you hate and you're like, I've got to make a website about this. Squarespace can do that too. You can start a business, you can showcase your work, you can just put stuff up, you can sell stuff, whatever you're trying to do. Squarespace can do it all. They've got beautiful templates created by world-class designers, so you can customize whatever you need to, but they've done most of the work already, so you can easily make a beautiful website all by yourself. And sell stuff. It'll work on desktop, it'll work on mobile. You don't gotta patch stuff, you don't gotta upgrade stuff. They'll even help you buy a domain if you don't know how to do that. And if you do need help, they've got customer support there for you 24/7. Squarespace empowers millions of people. Why not you? Get out there, turn a great idea into something real today. Head to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/bombcast, offer code BOMBCAST. And we're back, and now it is time for the news. This is, we had special correspondent Jeff Bakalar in Las Vegas for the Consumer Electronics Show, and he gave us a report, but did not report on this. I don't know. I must have missed this one in his report. The PlayStation VR 2.
What?
Yeah. I didn't go to CES this year.
What?
What?
But
You were the man on the floor.
You're Mr. CES.
There's a lot you guys don't know about me.
Like how much you lie on Twitter about how bad you are at games.
God damn it. Yes, as part of Sony's keynotes, they revealed the PlayStation VR 2. That is what they're calling it. That's the name they're going with. They had already talked about, hey, we're going to make another PlayStation VR headset. They had already talked about the controllers and some of these details, like the notion of it being a single cable connection to the PlayStation 5, as opposed to the big dumb breakout box and video HDMI pass-throughs and all the other stuff they did last time out. And this all sounds pretty good. They have laid out some specs. It will support 4K, 4K HDR. They are OLED screens. They're supporting foveated rendering, which, if you don't know, is it works in conjunction with eye tracking, where it will devote the resolution to where your eyes are looking.
Oh, neat.
That's kind of
The
scary.
idea being that, like, they want where your eyes are looking in the headset to be sharp, and then the peripheral vision can get a little bit less performance, a little fewer pixels.
Oh, shit.
How
Whoa.
the hell
I'm
does
assuming it's
technology
just
do
like
this? That's incredible.
Focusing on like your pupils and stuff. It's
Yeah,
like when you
so
get
it's
a.
No,
What if
like
it
it's so
closed my eye, though?
fast.
Yeah.
That's like so fast. Like how does it? That's
Well,
incredible. Like,
You go to an
for what
eye
it's worth-
doctor, right? Like
Yeah.
they have that machine that like with the hot air balloon and stuff, right?
Oh, sure. Okay.
This is probably unrelated, but it's worth knowing that Sony camera eye tracking for autofocus is like the best in the business. Probably unrelated. I don't know, but maybe
Huh.
not.
Oh yeah, eye tracking
just
for them
astounded,
is
yeah.
great.
Their eye tracking's sick, yeah.
Yeah, so they've got cameras in the headset to look at your eyes, which
cool.
they can use for a variety of things. But foveated rendering is kind of the big one that's becoming more and more of a standard through VR.
It's like word of the day, foveated. I like it.
Foveated.
Foveated.
Yeah.
Fun word.
Resolution is 2000 by 2040 per eye. Runs at 90 or 120 hertz.
Damn.
That's a high number. The Quest 2 resolution is 1832 by 1920.
And they're
So-
just, I think 120 hertz is like an experimental thing right now too. I think it's 90 by default.
Yeah, that'll probably be like a game by game thing.
Yeah.
90 seems to be a pretty good sweet spot for kind of performance versus,
Totally.
because you don't want to make people sick, right? So it has to be a good high number to make sure that people don't freak out in there.
The headset will have a vibration. There's a motor inside the head piece that's going to make your head shake.
I don't want this.
Wow.
I don't want
Okay.
this.
That's a weird
Wow.
one. I don't. Yeah, that just off the top of the head, that doesn't sound. I don't know.
Think of
Depends
the
on how it
roller
feels.
coaster simulators.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think of that going bad and just crunching my head.
Right. Yes.
That's a final destination death.
Yeah. The controllers, they had already talked about some of the stuff. The controllers will have your kind of PlayStation 5 kind of trigger haptics, like that sort of stuff in there as well. It'll have 3D audio the same way the PlayStation 5 already has 3D audio for headphones and all that sort of stuff. Same basic concept. And of course, the single cable connection. The PlayStation VR, the first one, I thought was like a cool, convenient way to do VR kind of before the Quest stuff really kind of came along and took hold. It would seem like a really good mainstream solution for VR, except for the part where I could never get the fucking tracking to work. And it was a gigantic pain in the ass.
It's not the best at that, yeah.
Yeah, and that it needed a camera and that it used the old Move controllers and all this sort of stuff. So the inside-out tracking on the headset means you don't have to have a PlayStation camera to use this thing anymore.
Cool.
The headset itself has cameras that will look for the controllers. And again, on the Quest and other headsets that use that style tracking, that stuff works pretty great. And is rapidly becoming the standard for this sort of stuff in terms of just like, here's a good, not entry level, but like a entry to mid-level headset for most people. Whereas like if you get up to like the Valve Index level where you're hanging sensors on the wall, you get the benefit of like, you can take those controllers and put it behind your back and do all kinds of weird shit and the sensors will still see them. Whereas with the Quest anyway, if I put those controllers behind my back, they kind of get lost a little bit. And then, they don't always get picked up because they're just the way the inside out tracking works. But like, that doesn't fucking actually matter. And most game developers seem to be building with that in mind these days. So not really a problem. They announced a game alongside it. It is set in the Horizon universe called Horizon Call of the Mountain from Fire Sprite and Guerrilla, who's the team that originally built the Horizon games. And they had a little trailer for that looked okay. I don't, it's kind of hard to necessarily go like, yes, that looks sick, but it looks fine. Like, okay, sure, they should do that, but they should do more big games for VR. I feel like Sony didn't necessarily always, like, it had a good software support and all this other stuff, but it didn't feel like Sony itself was necessarily always putting its best foot forward when it came to the games that it put into VR, other than that Astrobot thing.
Is there a world where Half-Life Alyx could make its way onto PS5?
That's been the rumor. That has been going around a little bit. That Valve wants to do, or that they're putting together a deal to do Alyx for PSVR. There's certainly, Valve has supported games on PlayStation consoles before.
Yeah,
like it has been a long time and all that sort of stuff. But they did the work. They should. I'm of the mind that more people should be able to play that game than the people that own PCs powerful enough to do it and all this other stuff. So like, yeah, if they can approximate that experience for a wider range of people, there's no reason not to do it. It only helps. Like, VR is still in that state where every headset sold to someone who is playing games with it is probably beneficial to that whole sector. So, Valve it'd be in their best interest to get more people on board wherever they're playing. But that's all a rumor. Who knows? That could all just be bullshit too. But that'd be cool. They should do that.
Yeah, I had like a bunch of friends that were curious about VR. They didn't want to devote upgrading their whole PC, and PSVR was easier for them despite the fucking mess of cables and the additional cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of those friends would be willing to upgrade to whatever PSVR 2 or whatever they want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. And I think they made one of the most wearable headsets in the game. Like the PlayStation VR headset, ultra comfortable, like design wise, like hopefully they can, at least meet, if not exceed, that mark with a follow up. So like I think Sony's in a pretty good place to do that stuff for sure. Question in the chat from a Jeff Grubb who says, "What had better software support from Sony, PSP, Vita, or PlayStation VR?" It's 1,000% PSP.
Yeah.
It's absolutely PSP.
Yeah.
It's before they learned their lesson and went like, "Oh, we don't need to actually make our own games for this thing," right? It's got to be.
There were so many ports that went to Vita, though. I don't know.
But they're all like
Yeah,
bad.
they were, but like
Weren't they bad ports?
They put a lot of those games out at
Usually,
least.
yeah.
Like they kept doing it. Like hey, that thing launched with its own custom Twisted Metal game, right? Or like with online support and all that other weird shit.
There were a lot of
On
PS1
Vita?
games you could play on Vita that they just sold.
Yeah, I guess.
Did it have a Uncharted?
Yeah.
Vita had an Uncharted
Yeah.
made by not the original studio and kind of like not an amazing video game.
Kind of not an Uncharted game.
Kind of not necessarily what you are looking for
Like there's a whole
per se.
slew of Assassin's Creeds, right? That made it
Yes, yeah, I think-
exclusively
yes.
to PSP or Vita.
Some of those things for sure. Yeah, God. While we're on this topic of Twisted Metal, they also reconfirmed that they are making that TV show.
Man, I forgot about that.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Me too.
They still don't have a date for that, but that is Anthony Mackie, who was in
Oh, the Falcon.
The Falcon. Yes,
New Captain
and
America.
he is starring in it. The writers of Deadpool are working on it.
Oh boy.
Great. Everyone loves Deadpool.
I don't know what
a
it
funny
is.
I don't.
I don't know what it is about some of these Marvel actors, and I like Marvel. I'll say that at the top, but
Mhm.
a lot of them have really bad management or agents, and they just book the weirdest shit afterwards. Like Tom Holland's track record, like Homeboy is like hitting a homer with only Spider-Man. Every other thing is a dud. Anthony Mackie, don't do it, buddy. Please don't do it. Unless this winds up being great. Is this supposed to be a cable thing, an HBO thing, Netflix thing?
It'll end up being
Cable
some
thing.
streaming service thing. Like it'll go. I'm sure it'll end up somewhere, right? I mean, I guess Sony doesn't have its own streaming service,
Oh, gosh.
so I don't know where this ends up.
Yet.
Maybe they sell it to Netflix or something like that. Will Arnett's production company's working on it, and then the story I was reading was insinuating that maybe Will Arnett would do the voice of Sweet Tooth, but that was not necessarily.
Lego Batman himself.
Yes,
That'd be
Matt
funny.
Hazard is here. Straight out of the Cybermania '94. Here's Will Arnett.
The voice of the Mucinex commercials.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Sweet Tooth. Yeah.
Sweet Tooth, of course. I just like there's something about the very idea of like turning Twisted Metal into like a story, like a narrative-driven property. That's just like, yeah, I guess like those characters had lore and stories in the same way that fighting game characters do. So like,
And we all know how great, like, the
Street
Street
Fighter
Fighter and
is.
Mortal Kombat movies are.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Chun-Li with Kristen
look,
Cruick.
some of those Mortal
Oh,
Kombat
yeah.
movies were okay for what they. No, but it's it's just fucking dumb. I don't know. Also, kind of while we're talking Twisted Metal, there's been word going around that a Twisted Metal game has been in the works. Previously, that had been attached to Lucid Games, which is the studio that did that Destruction All Stars for PlayStation 5.
Oh.
Which I liked the week it came out and then never played again. And apparently I'm not alone. They are, if you believe the smoke on the street, they are out, and another first-party studio based in Europe is apparently in to develop the Twisted Metal reboot. Which I assume, like, you only do that if you're tying it into this TV show. I would imagine, but maybe that becomes tricky because then you're like, okay, now we have to convince Anthony Mackie to license his likeness to us for this game or all this other stuff. But maybe maybe they don't do that, and then maybe it's like adjacent or something. But sure. Twisted Metal is bad. I hate to be a dick about it. Like, it was an awesome idea at the time, but I think as they kept making more and more of them, I just think players got to a point where they're like, I just want to be able to strafe and point my gun at the thing and shoot. And driving a car means I have to fucking Austin Powers my way to line up these shots. Or like, there's just like a certain thing about the way those games work that like.
You're more of a WWE Crush Hour type of guy, huh?
Of course. Yes. When we talk about lore and story in games, what is better than WWE Crush Hour? Who could believe that Vince McMahon would start a 24/7 network that's all wrestling related? That'll never happen. That's fucking insane.
How come Twisted Metal didn't come up the other week when we were talking, when it was like here on Dump Truck or something, like here's a Reddit thread of all these things that should get a reboot or a remake.
I'm surprised given the list of other stuff that popped up.
Because they tried to reboot it. Was that like late PS3 that game came out?
Black,
there was the Twisted Metal game.
Yeah.
No, post Black. Like after Black, there was another one that came out.
Really?
I'm not making that up.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It was just called Twisted Metal?
It was just called Twisted Metal, right?
Yeah.
It was, and God, okay, sorry. Now we have to look. Yeah. 2012 for the PlayStation 3, a game just called Twisted Metal came out and no one cared.
Yeah.
I just, like, there's something about that concept that I think, like, whatever. Cars with guns mounted on them is eternal, right? Like, that's fucking great.
It's always going to work.
But you need to be able to aim. You need to be able to aim off to the side. And while you're trying to drive a car, like just the video game part of that becomes a lot more difficult. And so I like when they go a little bit more, and they don't do this. No one does this anymore. But the more simulation end of that, the action sim end with like Interstate 76, which was basically like a mech warrior game, but you had a fucking 70s muscle car with guns on it instead of a mech.
Yeah.
Yep.
Groove Champion and the like that's cool. And because it's like a little bit more grounded in something resembling a sim. I mean, Interstate 76 was way more arcadey than MechWarrior was, but it was still kind of had those roots. Like all the stuff about having to aim and all that other stuff made a lot more sense because it was supposed to be funky and fucking weird. But like for an action game that is kind of like, I mean, it's deathmatch, it's team deathmatch, it's like shooter modes, but you're in a car. Stuff just doesn't play unless you force co-op and have turrets on all the cars.
There you go.
Double dash it.
Yeah.
Like that works. So whatever. I don't under, if asked, hey, would you make a Twisted Metal reboot? I feel like my answer would be like, I can't do that in a way that I think would be a good game. Get
the Rocket League people to basically just translate
Well, Sweet Tooth's in that
cars
game,
doing
actually,
wild
so-
shit in that way.
Yeah, but like you still have to aim the guns. Like that's
Yes.
it's the thing that plagues drive-bys in Grand Theft Auto, like all the way on down. Like they're just like driving a car, Saints Row, all that stuff, and shooting, hitting switches, the Easy E game. Like it's just hard to shoot guns and drive at the same time.
True.
As in real life.
Yeah.
All my best paintball out the window was done while I was a passenger in a moving car, not while I was driving it.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't drive and swing a baseball bat either.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Because you swing and your body swerves and you end up crashing into the thin mailbox that you're trying to hit, and like that's a fucking bad scene.
Your body never compensates.
No, absolutely. You think it will. You tell yourself like I need to hold this steady, and then you just fucking don't.
Yep. Can't process it.
Just gamer things.
In conclusion, Interstate 76 is a great game. Vigilante 8 less so. But hey, Rogue Trip. I'm just gonna say the words Rogue Trip out loud. E3 2022. There's another thing we can say out loud and then never talk about again. Because it's not happening as a physical event. VentureBeat.com has a story with some quotes from the ESA. This is like both surprising and unsurprising and sad and all this other stuff. Like I need a physical E3 to happen. Also, I need to stay safe and keep my family safe.
Of course.
So
Absolutely.
I'm like, fuck a physical event until things change from where they are right now. But God damn it.
Like tail end of last year, I was hardcore thinking we were gonna have an in-person E3.
Yeah, I was like, maybe
Yeah.
this will be the year. Maybe this will
Yeah.
be the year. And God, I really, I'm dying to get back in that messy ass hotel room, with that stupid ass chalkboard, and interview some people. Like it is literally all I want to do. It's not going to happen. And the online side of things feels very non-committal right now. This is from the VentureBeat story, the quote that the ESA gave to GamesBeat. Due to the ongoing health risks surrounding COVID-19 and its potential impact on the safety of exhibitors and attendees, E3 will not be held in person in 2022. We remain incredibly excited about the future of E3 and look forward to announcing more details soon. GamesBeat then asked for a clarification around like, hey, is there going to be an online event? And the ESA just said that it was excited about the possibilities of an online event.
But notice, not incredibly excited.
No, not
They're
incredibly
incredibly
excited.
excited about the possible future of E3. but
Yeah.
Not incredibly excited about online
Regular.
E3 22.
Regular excited.
And also that's like a I think if they already had plans in place, and so this led to some talk from folks saying like, hey, they gave up their dates for the convention center ages ago.
Wow.
And this is like a formality, them announcing this, like this was never going to happen. And we had not heard anything internally about, because normally January I think is about the time that we start getting not we us, but like, people at this company start getting outreach like, hey, are you buying a booth for your thing? Are you doing some stuff? Like those sorts of conversations start to happen somewhere around this time of the year. With none of that happened either. So not a huge shock in light of all that stuff. But yeah, the ESA is, I don't know what they do. Remember last year when they made their website with the weird avatars and the fake virtual booth type stuff, and like
Well,
that
and it wasn't secure at all.
Yeah, right.
People got their information stolen from that bizarre system or something.
A couple years before when all the press stuff leaked out. But
No, I thought it was like that did happen previously, but
Maybe
then this avatar thing,
again.
like
It
it happened
probably
again,
did.
and
It
everybody was like,
probably
"Remember
did.
this happened like really
Yeah.
recently?" And they did it again.
It probably did. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
all a
yeah.
blur. Yeah, it's I think we've spent something like the last 7 years or something talking about, does there need to be an E3? And I think the last couple of years of them doing virtual events and Keeley starting up his thing for whatever, it's like companies don't need a thing to run a live stream, right? Like they're just going to get up there and say, hey, here are our games. But to do it, as some of the smaller companies definitely benefit from having there being like a grip of events all on the same day.
Sure.
Because people just sit down and watch them all or co-stream them all, whatever, and so while Microsoft can just like flip a switch and get the news out, Natsume maybe needs a little more set dressing around them to help get the word out. And so you have a lot of publishers, smaller publishers and stuff that probably do benefit from those kind of clustered events. And then, like, of course, like after this stuff broke, Keeley was out there like an hour and a half later or something, tweeting out like the Summer Game the Summer Game Fest is back. Gotta get my brands right. And so.
Well, I mean,
of
also
course.
like that guy built that show to be all online, so all the
Exactly.
wheels are already in motion. And then like,
and for him, like I think he looked at it the other way, and when you ask him, like, hey, would you ever do a physical event? He'd be like, well, we'll see. I don't know. Like, so on the other end of this, assuming there is another end of this where humans can interact freely again, maybe Keeley starts a thing.
Do you think
like who runs Gamescom? Like, because he does some stuff for Gamescom. Would Gamescom try to fund him to just fucking unseat E3? Like, would it get that cold blooded? I don't know. I don't know. But
Just sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
right.
Jeff Keighley starts a thing.
Pretty much. Yeah, so it's we've talked a lot about whether there needs to be an E3 and all this other stuff, and I think my takeaway from the last couple of years is that it doesn't necessarily sell copies to like I don't think like having a physical event necessarily makes it better at building pre-orders and building like I think that the people at home kind of get the information one way or the other, and some of those games are so far off and get delayed so many times that it's not even like that big of a deal by the time the game ships. Like they're going to do more PR hits, they're going to do more trailers, they're going to do more shit to raise awareness around their upcoming video games. But I think the industry really benefits from getting together in a show of force kind of way and saying, look at how big this thing is.
It was always fun seeing like the local news teams like descend onto E3 and like those poor reporters not knowing anything that's going on.
That's the days of Pac-Man. We're not munching quarters here. Like, all of that stuff is always incredible. But I think, there's, especially when you look at the last couple of years in terms of just like revenue and just money coming into video games, it has grown so insanely. Like people forget, like in the wake of this ongoing pandemic, like the fucking video game industry has been cleaning the fuck up. It's why everyone is acquiring everyone, because they're like, fuck, we have way more money than we thought we were gonna. We gotta spend this shit. And they're spending that shit. So it's bigger. It's probably bigger than it's ever been. And it's easy to forget that in the wake of like all these games getting delayed and it being hard to find consoles and stuff. Like I think it's easy to build up in your head like, oh, this has been a shit show. But like, they're fucking getting paid.
Yeah, do you think like part of the boom of like the Quest over the holidays is just because of the pandemic to like people are just starving to be put into like something?
Yo, put me outside. Just let me get outside. however I can. No, I think, but that thing's pretty aggressively priced. They probably had some decent promotions around the holidays and stuff like that. And also it was in stock in a way that like consoles maybe weren't. So I wonder if maybe there was some benefit there as well. We'll see if there's any kind of net effect of that, of just like, if anything happens for VR on the other side of this. And the PlayStation VR 2 probably helps there too. But I don't know. It's there is a hole in this industry, I think, without a big physical event that everyone is at. I know I feel it. I think that's something in the years when there was a physical E3, when we would interview people and ask them like, hey, do you think, ask like a Phil Spencer and stuff like that. Like, do you think that there needs to be an E3? And be like, oh yeah, like it's, but the effects of it are intangible. The ROI on it is intangible, right? It's not like, oh, we spent a bunch of money at E3 and then we built awareness around this and it blew our game. I'm sure there's some stories like that for smaller games where like we got wishlisted on Steam a zillion times because we were on the right live stream at E3 and blah, blah, blah. But there are other ways to get to that don't involve E3. Yeah, there's that intangible get everybody together stuff that
it's a morale thing,
Yeah,
sure. It's just built into marketing budgets as like, question mark. We're going to spend this. It's in the budget, and you're right. It's immeasurable in every way.
It's morale, and it's also connections too, right?
Sure.
Like it's mingling. Again, it's business.
You hear a lot of stories about people saying like, oh, well, it's really beneficial. Like for as much as like, hey, putting together an E3 demo fucking sucks and takes time away from making your real video game to make a fake version of your real video game for the press to play or whatever. You hear a lot of stories from people going like, hey, being able to see our game out there, people either playing a build of it or watching streams of it and reacting to it is a huge morale boost for the team.
Totally.
Yeah. Sure. And that there's a benefit there too. So it's murky. I don't know. Like but also I get, and I have felt this way a lot in terms of just like E3 as it has existed as a physical event. Like, don't forget, like E3 2020, before it got mercy killed, like that thing was on its way to being a fucking unprecedented shit show.
Yeah.
There was like plans of having a basketball court on the stage floor, or on the show floor, I should say.
The deck they were pushing around there with in terms of influencers and activations and getting basketball players there too. Like, what if you could play NBA 2K2 with or 2K20 with a basketball player? Like that's okay. Like, that sounds like PAX. That doesn't sound like E3. Get fucked. But like, okay, I guess. Like, you got to do something. Like, the industry was leaning on the ESA to try to find ways to make that event more relevant. And they've been given this like stay of execution for the last couple of years because of everything that's happened in the world. But well, hopefully, I mean, I hate that this sounds like optimistic, but hopefully we get back to a place where something like that could happen again.
Yeah.
But should it? And all that other stuff. Yeah, it's a mess. Hey.
Like also from like a planning and production standpoint, it was very, very nice to have like this singular event where we can just let's block out a week. Like these 3-4 days, we're gonna go super duper heavy. But like, God, the year like 2020, when all these different events are popping up out of nowhere and we're scrambling to put time on the calendar, is insane. Like, so I wouldn't mind having that singular event back for that aspect, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, instead of it being like this vague, like it's kind of a week, but it's kind of a month.
Yeah.
Like there's a week where it's super heavy, but then like someone's going to go 2 weeks before that. Someone's going to go 3 weeks after this. Like there's just, there's a lot of, I don't know. I assume that the ESA does eventually put together some kind of online event and they put the E3 branding on it. Cause why wouldn't you? Like maybe they partner with Twitch this time. Cause like Twitch was kind of doing their own thing on top of that, where they were like, hey, we're running our live streams. They're relatively agnostic of whatever event they're a part of. Like and then when Keeley talks about the Summer Game Fest, he talks about it in this encompassing, like it's everything. It's like, okay, how many of those companies partnered with the Summer Game Fest brand, and how many of it is just like, hey, there's events happening? Like it's just kind of a weird, nebulous thing. But it
just seems like we're very much still in the middle of a moment of transition.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna have to wait it out. Pandemic's not,
no.
moving that along as quickly as it has moved other things along. So.
But it's buying them time to figure out what the hell they want to do. So there's that, I guess.
Yeah,
thanks,
I mean,
thanks COVID.
No.
Never think it.
Like, yeah.
Never think it.
Never think it.
Oh no.
Speaking of money, Take-Two is attempting to buy Zynga.
Oh boy.
That's a lot of money.
A deal that totals up to $12.7 billion. That's for comparisons. The Bethesda Microsoft deal was somewhere in the $8 billion range.
Wow.
Which has led to, if this may be a couple hours old, but it looked like Take-Two stock was down and Zynga's stock was up. That maybe investors were saying like, hey, you might be overpaying for this fucking thing.
Yeah.
But yes, Take-Two is there. They bought the Farmville.
It's also fun to, whenever these big acquisitional things come out, I always like to remind everyone of how much Disney bought Marvel for in 2009.
How much was that? Two?
It was $4 billion.
$4 billion.
Yeah.
Paltry sum.
Yeah. So like Bethesda is like 2 Star Warses and Marvel.
Oh my gosh.
It's an entire Death Star.
And then this is even more than that.
There's no GTA on mobile, correct?
There has been at times. They have ported some of those classic games. So that's the some of the big stink about those definitive editions that just came out is that they were based on Android ports.
Okay.
And which already had their own problems. So yeah, they have done it. But there's never been a mobile first, like a really big, like, hey, we're building it for this platform, like that sort of stuff. Like they haven't really done that with GTA in a meaningful way.
Do you think we are, if and when this deal goes down, we are on the way to a GTA mobile or GTA Online on mobile world?
Oh geez, I guess, maybe. I mean,
because like that game is like, how old is GTA 5 now? It's,
right. I mean, that game ran on goddamn Xbox 360s. Right. Like a calculator at this point. Compared to
old, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So maybe. Yeah.
8,
you could do a
9.
touchscreen. Yeah. Sure. You could do a GTA Online on a phone. That seems absolutely doable to me, a non-developer. But I think there's also like there's probably room for, well, if you think about the games that Zynga does, that's not necessarily their forte either. You know, it is these kind of like Words with Friends and Farmville. Like it's very kind of mobile first, like not necessarily action gameplay. Take-Two also hasn't really, like there's an NBA 2K that comes out, but it's not, I don't think it's like, you know, it's not feature complete or you know, like doesn't match features with the console versions of the game or anything crazy like that. They've got WWE Supercard.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's why it's 12 billion.
That's why, yeah. Well, no, that was already to Take-Two. They should have been like, we already have the best mobile game. We don't need any of this shit. So yeah, this deal, I think they have some chunk of time. If you remember, Take-Two got really close to buying Codemasters, and then EA swooped in and said, "How about no?" And then they bought them instead. I think there's still technically room for something like that to go down here, with a bunch of crazy break clauses that make it pretty unattractive to probably break the deal. But it's not approved yet. The shareholders have to do their thing and all this stuff. But presumably, this goes down. The idea is that Zynga will take on Take-Two's mobile stuff under the Zynga label, and they will find new ways to exploit Take-Two's intellectual properties for phones. I think you do an XCOM.
Oh, yeah.
I'd do an XCOM.
I hate to say I'd buy the shit out of that.
Yeah, you know, that'd be cool. Like you could do a fully functional XCOM game on a phone, and it would be perfect for that type of thing. Turn-based, all that other stuff. But yeah, neither company is necessarily like has a ton of like visible expertise in making like the big action type stuff, like a GTA Online or stuff you talk about for mobile. It's not to say they couldn't do it, but it's not. If you look at their current portfolio of mobile stuff, like neither company seems to be doing a ton of that stuff right now. And Take-Two says they're still on the hunt for more acquisitions, as is everyone else. This is
ravenous.
Yeah, this is the part of the cycle we're in, that you're going to continue to see a lot of consolidation around the business and a lot of stuff getting snapped up by other big things, becoming bigger things. So
investors demand constant growth forever.
Yes, gotta buy. You stumbled into all this extra money that you didn't think was going to come in. You might as well acquire a bunch of shit.
Buy yourself a Zynga.
Do you think there are people out there that only play mobile games like a Farmville or Words with Friends that Zynga owns that have a fondness for Zynga? Because like I know in like this sphere, it's kind of like joked at of like, haha, Zynga, Farmville. But like, is there a fondness or a warmth that someone feels in the same way someone feels a warmth with like Nintendo or PlayStation?
I wonder.
I don't think Zynga has that reputation. I think they have the kind of the opposite reputation of being like very merciless on the monetization and stuff. Like and also like, you know, what do they do lately? I don't know.
Farmville
like,
3 apparently.
Yeah.
Or like
Looks like
any
XCOM
mobile
2 is
game
available on
developer.
phones for $15.
Oh.
So there you go. It's got a 4.1 out of 5, so I don't know. Yeah, Zynga, I don't know. Zynga issued a cease and desist over one of our Farmville videos, so I don't think they're very cool at all.
Fuck them.
Yeah, they mean business.
I'll walk over
Yeah.
to that office in SF right now.
Yeah. I used to work in that building. I know where the vents are. We could
Let's throw some fishes.
crawl in there. Yeah, exactly. Give them some business. But like Words with Friends is good.
Sure.
You know, if you like Scrabble, it's weird that it's like, we made this bootleg ass Scrabble that's just Scrabble, and it's not actually Scrabble. But anyway, new Armored Core. What do you think?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
I'll be
absolutely
excited. Yep.
It's been a long time.
It has been a very long time. Like
From's been in their their Soulsborne groove for and it's been extremely successful. But I would like to see them come back to this.
Yeah, and they had said that this was something that they were looking to get back to, but there's some additional details that supposedly leaked out of a consumer survey, according to VideoGamesChronicle.com, that a lot of details got posted to a message board which then was followed up with very tiny images of a third-person mech game that sure looks a hell of a lot like a Armored Core, and some additional details on the world and stuff like that, using the word melange, which I don't understand. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Feel the tension in long and short-range battles. The game offers not only long-range combat with guns, but also short-range combat elements such as blade and shield that add a sense of urgency to gameplay.
Yeah.
It's just so taking something of a long view of From Software and all this other stuff, it is still weird to me. Like, their fortunes have changed so much. Armored Core was not a thing that you would have gotten a lot of responses about. It had its audience for sure of people who fucking loved them some Armored Core, but they were oftentimes the lunatics that were off in the corners like, no, you need to check this out. And then you would play it and go like, it just doesn't play right. It's not what I need out of a mech game. And so to see a widespread, I mean, whatever, like, on the other end of all the Souls games and all the other stuff, like From Software is thought of incredibly differently than they were prior to all this stuff. Right? Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You thought it was just like, I just make a bunch of fucking janky, weird shit, and God bless them for it. But like, fucking Armored Core is for lunatics.
It's for nerds.
Yeah. Goddamn nerds.
Yeah, I remember because they let you get super duper granular with like the parts and stuff. I remember complaining to my poor mother, like, Mom, I don't have any weapons. I don't know what I'm doing, because I unequipped everything from my arms.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know what you're trying to do right now. Have you done homework today?
Sick murder robot. How do you not understand that?
You don't get it, Mom.
My robot building games are Biomotor Unitron for the Neo Geo Pocket and Robo Pit for the PlayStation 1.
That works too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's some good ass games right there. But yeah, as a result of this, I went back and found myself like reading about all of the games in the Armored Core series, and it was very much like your save on your memory card could be upgraded to the next game, and they would occasionally break that upgrade route when they went from like a Armored Core 2 to 3, but then when they're like, okay, this one's the arena offshoot and this one's Armored Core For Answer, which is a great subtitle for anything. For Answer. What?
Giant Bombcast. For Answer.
There you go. Perfect. Anyway, I feel like they at some point spoke about wanting to get back to Armored Core, so this isn't necessarily like a huge surprise, but the details are definitely new and all that sort of stuff. And they should do this. The appetite for this style of game and the appetite for games from Software is so fucking different than it was the last time they put out an Armored Core game that they will probably find some very real success with this if they do it right.
Crazy to think that an Armored Core might actually crack into the mainstream or something.
Gaming is so different now. It's so different. It's so awesome that it is too. Like, it's so crazy that like you got people getting crazy hyped about an Armored Core game when you're just like, that was the game that like you didn't get at launch because you're like, this is too fucked up for me. Like,
this is impossible.
Yeah.
Stupid claw grip and stuff. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
You had to mutate your hands just to.
Some people loved Chrome Hounds.
Yeah.
I wanted to like Chrome Hounds. I at the time I could not get super into it. But anyway,
I hope this is like the return of mech games, because if this is the thing that pushes the needle to get Titanfall 3, I need it to happen.
Yeah, are they going to get out meched?
Yeah. What if a giant human drops down and then the mech takes over the human? Huh?
I think that's the Attack on Titan add-on for Call of Duty that they just announced.
What?
Oh, by the way, yeah, there's a Attack on Titan thing coming to Call of Duty.
Like the naked baby people, or like the little people, the sword
I don't know
people?
what I don't know. I think they might just be selling a gun. I don't know if it's gonna have full on fucking Titans, but
Grappling hooks.
Yeah, grappling hooks make every game better.
More grappling hooks.
I don't understand Call of Duty.
I'm not sure the people making Call of Duty understand Call of Duty anymore, but what are you gonna do? Dying Light 2 is 500 hours long.
All right, I understand less now.
Or is it?
It's not. It is, but it's not.
Oh.
This is This is one of those like I don't know. This was like a lesson in how to manage social media or something, or how to read a room. Or
I just wonder if they purposefully, like, not like purposefully sabotaging themselves, but it's just like any exposure is good exposure. Like, how many people were suddenly aware of Dying Light 2 because everybody was like 500 hours. Shut the fuck up. Got mad about it.
I feel like Dying Light 2 did not have to do this. Did not have to. I feel like there was enough of a bit of a groundswell underneath it. The hype was there. People are psyched about this game, and now this is one of those things where you just have to roll your eyes at, and you're just like, oh, shut the fuck up.
They had to backpedal so they ran their infographic thing that said it's 500 hours to complete Dying Light 2, and you could walk from like Warsaw to someplace in 540 hours. It was just like some dumb comparison point between their two offices, how long it would take to walk that. And people were like, that's not a thing I want. Well, certain types of people were like, that's not a thing I want. And then they had to backpedal and be like, okay, that's not what we meant. We meant this. And then they had to backpedal again to be like, hey, the game's like fucking 20 hours long. All right. There's a lot of other stuff in there if you want to do it. Are you fucking dumb? Like, it's like, do you not understand? Like, they should have just been like, do you not understand how fucking video games work? Sometimes there's other stuff that's not part of the main story that you can do. And sometimes there's a lot of it. Are you fucking dense? Like, it's just like people, it just felt like a bad faith conversation that people were having that they saw that number and just were like, well, I guess that's a long game. Like, no, fucking idiot. What the fuck?
Well, I think like the valid criticism was, gee, that's a lot of bloat activities that I don't give a fuck about.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's what the majority of people are just like, yeesh, don't brag about how much garbage you've injected into this to have like constant replayability, not even replayability, just constant playability to waste my time. But it's still pretty funny though.
But like, so the other part of this I'll say is that Dying Light 1 had legs in a way that I don't think anyone would have anticipated, and they added a lot of stuff to it over time, and players ate it up. And there are probably players out there that put that kind of time into the first game, whether there was content there to support it or not. So I think to a certain crowd of people that really enjoyed and really wrung every little fucking bit out of Dying Light 1, they're like, fuck yeah.
That's who that tweet is for.
Exactly. That's who that tweet is for. But like, that tweet is not that crowd of people were buying that game anyway. So
like, so it's like you don't even have to. Why would you lead with that? Basically, not leading, but it's just like such a high profile tweet happened for such a niche. Only a niche audience would completely be like understanding it and being like, oh fuck yes, 500 hours. Whereas everybody else on Earth would be like, yo, no,
like not the thing. Not the thing you should be out there advertising. Like, that's, people are trying to have lives. Every game is a 500-hour game now. They just put out expansions and
Animal Crossing is a 500-hour game.
Right.
What isn't these days?
That's like this. Every game as a service is a 500-hour game in its own way.
Yeah. Every game that has little icons pop up on the map for every single little fucking NPC you can interact with, and every shop and every collectible. It's like they're all 500 hours. So it's like, why are you even talking about it?
Yeah. I'm excited to see what this thing ends up being, though, because it's been in development and has been delayed so much and had a lot of really ambitious stuff that they were trying to do with the story stuff. And I hope that holds up in the final product, because that stuff sounded really neat. And that first game was cool as shit. As I did not spend 500 hours with it, but
you could have.
I could have. Xbox boss Phil Spencer calls for cross-platform ban program, reads the headline at GameSpot.com, which is taking some quotes from a interview he did with Kara Swisher at the New York Times. And that headline's a bit, I don't know, it's so it's a kind of wide sweeping interview that he a discussion he did with Swisher that's covers regulation in China and what does that look like, and kids and how much time should they spend playing games and addiction, it's a wide ranging interview covering a ton of territory in terms of just like comparing games to social media and all that sort of stuff, and are games good for us, and just like little bits and pieces of it. It's not like so Halo's good, it is not, that is not the focus of it. It is more about the kind of culture of gaming around it. And so, talking about toxicity in games and all that sort of stuff, and the answer he gives, or the bit in this conversation that is about that, I think is something that I think I have spoken with him about at some point in the past, but also not the first time this has kind of come up from a number of different places. But I'll read the quote here. It's that's right. Something I would love us to be able to do, and this is a hard one as an industry, is when somebody gets banned in one of our networks, is there a way for us to ban them across other networks? Or at least as a player, for me to be able to bring my banned user list, because I can always block people from my play. And I'd love to be able to bring them to other networks where I play. So this is the group of people that I choose not to play with, because I don't want to have to recreate that on every platform I play video games on.
How many people is he banning? My goodness.
Well,
Not enough. Have you fucking seen video games lately?
Yeah.
I just
This is
really
a-
like I like the phrasing of this outrageous headline that Xbox boss Phil Spencer calls for cross-platform ban, like he's a king and he's like, I'm calling for this, like bring this to me,
Yeah,
make
but
it
it's-
happen.
Yeah, and I've
And
had
he's just like, it'd be
conversations.
nice if this happened.
Right, yeah, and it would be. I think it would be personally, but and he alludes to it here, saying it's a hard one as an industry. But like, who holds the keys to that? Who? I had a conversation with a large social media network at one point in the years past that thought that they would be the one to do this, and that they would be the company to hold the keys to this. To which I said, no one likes you. And would never trust you for this. But it's an idea that's been kicking around for a very, very long time, right? Like if you've got people that are known to be, whether they're cheating in Warzone, which is still a problem. There's cheating in Halo Infinite these days as well, it sounds like.
Bummer.
And so if you have players that are getting banned there, why do you want them playing anywhere? Why do you want them, like, why give them a free pass on a PlayStation to go do it again? Or why give them, like you should be eliminating players like that from, or, if they're just like completely toxic fucking shitbags being absolute garbage in voice chat or whatever, like at some point you're like, we don't want them anywhere. But again, like, I don't know. Do any of you think that that's doable, and who governs that? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's the
I
problem.
don't think it's doable without extreme privacy violations to track these people, and also like who's in charge of like who gets banned for what, and can it be misused on a mass scale? Like there's all the ethical questions that follow it, let alone the practicality angle of it all. So I think it's like in a perfect world, yes, it'd be cool to be able to do this, but we live in a super imperfect world where everybody would take advantage of this if the system even was feasible. So, no.
I'm sure there's a way to do it,
Share
but
emails. Yeah.
Yeah. And just as soon as there'd be a way to dodge around it if you were aware that it existed.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
When I see and read a story like this, I see an opportunity for, Phil Spencer to be like, yeah, I've been talking about this for a while now. Like it's definitely an opportunity to say like, this is a thing we've been talking about for a while, and you can now point back to this as proof. So, I mean, look, yes, I agree. There'd be a nice way it would be great if you could pull this off, but like, hey, capitalism, baby, this ain't, this, I don't know.
Yeah, and for cheating, it's even different, because that's like, that's even a per game basis, like not even necessarily accounts getting banned and stuff like that. Like there's, you can get your Activision account banned, but at the end of the day, Warzone's a free to play game, so you can just download it again and sign up all over again. And they try to do hardware bans, at least on PC. But I guess that's where the cheating is anyway. So that's led to a lot of players calling for the ability to disable crossplay in games like Call of Duty and Halo.
Right? You can
Not in Halo.
Not in Halo.
you can turn it off on Call of Duty.
in Call of Duty you can.
And that's why Phil Spencer is calling for a decentralized system.
Go on. Have we found the one spot where the blockchain works? No,
I mean, in a vacuum, blockchain is fine. In a vacuum, I need to be clear about that.
Yeah.
Do we have to play the NFT
No,
song,
no,
Jan?
absolutely
Is this have we crossed over to?
No, I have
Okay, good.
deliberately
Good,
not
good.
pulled like two different incidents around that horse shit because I just don't
Good.
want to talk about it.
No.
Maybe next week.
Take a break.
Yeah. So it's I think it's an interesting idea that I think it's. Yeah, and I think it's something that I think a lot of different players in this space have been thinking about one way or the other. But the idea of getting, I mean, remember the crossplay discussion to start with was Microsoft saying, yeah, we would love to do this. And then Sony being like, we need to protect our audience from external, like they tried to spin it as a safety and harassment, like trying to keep their user base safe from these Xbox Live hooligans who would come in and curse or or whatever it was, and and that didn't hold any water. But like imagine user moderation and all this other stuff to try to get Sony to sign on with Microsoft for that sort of stuff. I just don't think they would do it.
They always realize it's always one business that realizes like the beneficial impact of a thing after it's too late, or it's never equally sort of shared at the same time. I feel like no one ever is like, oh, we all agree on this thing, let's put this in right now. No, it's like, no, it's usually like, for crossplay, it's like Sony and Nintendo realizing like, Microsoft and Nintendo realizing like this is a thing we should do, and then the feeling was always like Sony's like, oh no, we're going to be fashionably late to that party.
Well, they're still not. I mean, there's still stuff like that doesn't. I think it was like the Genshin Impact update was like there was like battle pass type stuff or some kind of progress that didn't reflect over to other platforms no matter what, and so. Like even just because all that stuff is around money, of course. It's not, the conversation isn't about like we've got to keep our user base safe from curse words. It's we've got to keep our revenue safe from people who might buy currency on Xbox and then spend it on PlayStation. Who gets that money? And then Sony, obviously that stuff leaked. Like Sony worked out a very elaborate fucking formula for how they get paid no matter what. And because they were the dominant platform at the time, they were able to pull it off. And it's just frustrating. Like that stuff should be a lot easier. But there's still weird shit. Like, I don't know if you noticed this, but as someone who has purchased currency for Halo Infinite so that I could buy cool gun skins, the currency is more expensive on Steam than it is on Xbox Live.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So even if you play the Steam version, you would be better suited to also download the Xbox or the like Microsoft version for PC, even just launch it and buy your currency there and then go back to Steam and spend it, which I think you can do. Jason, you're muted, I think.
Dauntless is a lot like that. They're very strange. You can buy currency on either platform, but it sticks to that platform.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's caused me to have like I've got 500 here, 500 over there, but I don't have 1,000 anywhere. I don't know how the hell that happened, but
yeah,
it's very strange. Even though that game is crossplay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I think Destiny 2 is similar with silver purchases. They may have fixed that, but I think at the time there was very much your premium currency sticks to the platform you bought it on. I think that's fairly standard. I think Fortnite might even be in that boat too. But someone in chat is saying that currency is cheaper because I have Game Pass. That's what it is. So if you have Game Pass, those items are cheaper on the Microsoft version of the store. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyway, that's it. The rest of this, the New York Times piece, they put it up as audio, and the transcript of that is fine, but it's a good little half-hour listen. Of just like them talking about the kind of larger issues, not necessarily about Xbox versus PlayStation and all the stuff that I think that comes up a lot, but about the, all the supply chain stuff that everyone's facing, and then just around like, hey, how do we actually solve these larger societal problems that have manifested in video games in a variety of ways. No clear-cut answers there, but still an interesting little discussion. And that's gonna do it for news. How about we take another break? We'll come back and chew through some emails.
All right.
Cool. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss, and Keeps offers both. What is Keeps? Keeps is a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. They've got convenient virtual doctor consultations and medications that are delivered straight to your door every 3 months. You don't got to go out and get stuff. They will make it happen. They will make it come to you. It's low cost. Treatments start at just $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions to help keep those costs low. It's got discreet packaging, proven results, and more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. When it comes to hair loss, prevention is key. These treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/bomb, and you'll receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/bomb to get your first month free. keeps.com/bomb. All right, we're back. And why don't we get into some electronic mail?
Dig in.
All right. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address you should use to hit us up about stuff, as Justin in San Marcos, Texas has, with a bit of a long one here, but I'll see if I can paraphrase a little bit. Justin says, I'll put this as politely as possible. Bakalar has no goddamn idea what he's talking about when he shits on Wheel of Fortune contestants.
Okay. I was worried up until you said Wheel of Fortune contestants, but go ahead.
I was like, whoa. Oh, okay. It says, I have receipts. I was a contestant in 2015.
Oh.
After a lifetime of annoying my family by basically being a Wheel of Fortune savant and guessing every puzzle with barely any letters revealed, I went to an open casting event, going back for a more formal interview, and then getting the call to fly out. I spent 22 minutes mostly clapping for the woman next to me as she won a bunch of money. And if I could get it out of my mind forever, I would do it in an instant. My point is that it's not in anyone's best interest for someone to look foolish on air. The producers extensively coached us all morning, including walking on set and spinning the actual wheel, so we were used to it. Vanna White breezed in street clothes and wished us all good luck on our way into hair and makeup.
The nerve to welcome them in street clothes.
Which may or may not be carefully timed each week to further relax everyone. By the time the cameras roll, we have spent literally half a day being drilled and trained for TV, and sometimes the mountain of rules and tips and reminders to always be conscious of your facial expression and body language and energy short-circuit you. One very nice fellow in my group, but not my episode, had all of the, you must read it exactly as it appears, screw him over, when he attempted to solve the puzzle Aliens versus Predator by saying Aliens vs Predator, and then immediately rolling his eyes.
I didn't even read.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, like, am I supposed? Where's like the hidden information that, like, my point last week was that some of the people on Wheel of Fortune just are so they're just brain dead. They guess the same letter twice. Is the excuse that, like, it's a tough day of flipping letters? Let me tell you.
That it really gets in your head. It says once you're even the slightest bit rattled, or have just watched someone else in your group get rattled, it sits in the back of your mind all day. Don't screw up. Don't screw up. Don't screw up.
This ain't Squid Game. You ain't gonna get shot if you screw up. Like,
should be.
I don't
add some stakes to this thing.
I mean, I think it's cool that you got on Wheel of Fortune, emailer, but like, I don't know. I this hasn't changed the way I feel when someone clearly should have maximized the amount of money that they were going to get. You landed on the $5,000 piece. Don't guess the letter you know there's only one of. Like, I guess all of the drilling and all of the prepping they must do to the Wheel of Fortune contestants drains their brain of any sort of, like,
it psychs you out, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
You've never had stage fright, Bakalar?
I'm not saying I'm not saying I would be the coolest cucumber. Maybe I would. Maybe
You're
I wouldn't.
you're implying that you would be.
Well, maybe yes. You know what? Put me on fucking Wheel of Fortune. I won't embarrass myself.
Petition
Alright.
Pat Sajak to get this man on Wheel of Fortune
No.
so
Right.
we can see
I don't
him
want
choke.
Tom. I want a different host. I don't like Pat Sajak.
Wow.
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 Damn.
Get someone else. Else.
Wow. Mark writes in and says, people seem to be extremely pissed when Ghost Recon Frontline was announced because apparently it wasn't what the community wanted. Do you think the backlash was bad enough that Ubisoft would scrap or pivot the game, or do you think they'll go ahead with it? I had to go look this up because I had completely forgotten about Ghost Recon Frontline. This is the Battle Royale style game that they announced in like October.
Oh.
Okay.
And they were like, we're going to have closed technical tests very soon. And people were like, watched the trailer and read the info about it and said, yo, fuck this. What? You're making a fucking battle royale game? Fuck you. And they said, the technical test has been delayed indefinitely. And hasn't necessarily been heard from since. I wonder. I have said before that I think that there is room in games for more battle royale games, but that they need to do something different than just be like, we're running around with guns and shot dudes. Like there's that feels like that is there's a lot of those that people really like. And so making another one of those seems like a very tough one, but I fucking completely forgot that this game even existed. For a minute, I was like, "Was that? Is that the game they renamed into Quarantine, or was that the game they renamed into X Defiant?"
No one knows.
But no, it's neither of those things. It's a game that has completely vanished. I could see them killing it.
Yeah.
I could see them feeling like they missed their window for that style of game, and maybe don't need to do it, or completely pivot it into something else. But I feel like every time, maybe not every time. Remember They did a future, it was like Future Soldiers, like Future Grawl, like you had robots and all this other stuff, and that game it was on a Game Informer cover, I think, and all this other stuff, and then at some point just got straight up killed and replaced with some other dumb shit. I don't know. They've got a history, I think, of like big pivots or killing stuff, so
They can afford to.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we'll see. That's an interesting. I have not thought of that game because no one else has either. Adam writes in and says, your recent deep dive into the game reboot desires of Reddit reminded me of a bizarre happening around the long and rightfully dormant Gex IP.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. In February of 2015, Square Enix invited the world to pitch ideas for a Gex reboot. Judging by how this game wasn't made and how a recent Google of Gex news show that they have recently renewed the trademark, I ask you this. If you were to submit a pitch for a new Gex game, what would it be? That's Adam from Swansea.
I already mentioned my pitch. I don't know if I should rehash
That's right.
it.
Yeah.
I already mentioned my really good pitch, which is God of War, but Gex. And Gex is the Kratos, and his son of Gex, is the boy. And it's a little, father-son adventure thing, but instead of it being God of War, it's a platformer. And it's, the dad has some expertise, kid has more flexibility, sort of like they get to know each other sort of shit. But the dad is super cringy and keeps quoting Austin Powers at the kid. And the kid keeps mentioning stuff like poggers and sus and other memes that will be totally too old by the time the game comes out, which will add to the cringe factor of it, making it the rightful spiritual successor to Gex.
Oh.
Or
for it to be Gex, it kind of needs to suck.
Yeah, it needs to suck. It needs to be insufferable in a lot of ways. It can't be.
Gex start quoting Borat however many years too late instead of Austin Powers.
Although,
Yeah. And he keeps saying like, oops, all blank, which is the funniest joke no matter what you put in the blank, right, everybody? Especially if you say it constantly.
Are you guys aware that like the Borat thing is back? It never kind of went away, but it's definitely back bigger today than like 3 years ago. It's probably mostly
Because there was
based
a
in
new Borat
irony.
movie.
No, I don't think it's that.
Partially that.
It's a fair reason, but people are just doing the same old Borat, and they're doing it. And obviously it's in jest, but there's something that has happened where it's back again.
There's an
in certain
ironic
corners of the
nostalgia for
internet.
it now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange because it's just it won't go away. It's like a rash.
Well, isn't it? Is it like Kazakhstan's in the news recently, and there was a lot of people making like maybe poor taste Borat references to some of the stuff that's been going on over there, I think.
Oh no.
So yeah, I think some of that stuff came around in a way that was like, oh boy, all right, that's a bit much. But yeah, you're right. There's definitely been Borat's on the rise.
If you go on Google Trends and search Borat is really, really hot right now in Vermont and Alaska.
The comedy capitals of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the related queries, sorry, last thing about Borat. Related queries, the second one is debunking Borat.
Debunking?
Finally.
Excellent.
We're getting to the bottom of all this.
Someone out there still not convinced he is a fictional character.
Borat truthers.
Taken down a peg.
Yeah.
That guy. But yeah, Gex would definitely say my wife. Get Dana.
I mean,
Gould
especially if he has a
my
child,
wife.
right?
Yeah, he must have. Who's the mommy? We don't know. An extra? I don't know.
I don't know if this was someone on the message boards, if there's someone on Discord or somewhere, but I thought I saw someone saying that they, like, relatively recently, in the last decade or so, had asked Dana Gould about Gex, and he did not respond favorably.
We tried to get in contact with Dana Gould when I did Gextra Life, which is torture. I don't advise anybody do a Gextra Life. Absolute mind-numbing torment. 24 hours of Gex games. Yeah, we tried to get him last minute. His assistant was very confused and did not forward it to him.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's
It'd been cool if he popped in.
get Dylan Brady. You know, some of this. All right. Brian from Missouri writes in and says, do you think we'll ever get a controller that has 6 face buttons as a default ever again? More and more games are using contextual buttons or multiple button presses for actions, and emulating older games is a real pain in the ass, and a lot of fighting games are made with 6 buttons in mind. Think we ever get back to 6 on the face? Oh, I would love it.
I would love that, yeah.
I'd be down for that, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of
I'm
my
sick
favorite
of
controllers right now are 6 button.
I'm sick of so many things having to do with the shoulder buttons and all that stuff. Like, I just want my thumbs to do more. Like, my thumbs I trust more than my fingies to do stuff with timing. So I feel like there's just too much fingy action, not enough thumb action going on.
I just don't know if you're gonna get there with I don't think all 6 buttons would be the same size then, because
no,
I just think with the right analog. Yeah, but
or like the original Xbox
like
had the small black and white buttons.
Yeah, I didn't hate those.
I feel like there's so many games that have a lot of like inventory that you have to switch to constantly, so everything has a weapon wheel. But it's like I kind of miss just being able to like set things to those C buttons, like in Zelda and stuff like that. Like that was kind of convenient. The D-pad kind of does that for a lot of other things, but I don't know.
I would love it as a controller for emulation purposes, because that's sort of the thing you're always missing when it comes to trying to make an N64 controller work. Like 6 on the face would get you there better. It wouldn't necessarily be perfect, but also for Saturn stuff. So like for Saturn stuff, it's a real must.
So are you proposing like
if it was exactly the same, yes. If it was exactly the same as our controllers are today, but you had 2 rows of 3, if there was just 2 more buttons up off that cross, but I don't think that's a good idea for modern games.
Yeah.
I feel like all the conversations around controllers, and maybe this conversation hasn't been had in a little while, but a lot of it was like, hey, the modern controller, the current controller that we all use across all these platforms, the design of shoulder buttons and buttons on the face is too intimidating for new players. And I think if anything, you would love to see, or I would not per se, but I think that there would probably be some people at hardware manufacturers would be like, oh, if we could just get some buttons out of there to make it more appealing to new players or something like that to try to.
But I feel like in some ways that it's more confusing for new players to have to deal with, L1, R2, R1, and then also L3 and R3 clicking in the sticks is something that is like so weird to new players and never heard clicking in the sticks. I also don't like it. I accidentally do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm toggling between crouching and not crouching, running and not running all the time by accident. I'd much rather that be a button or just an options menu toggle to run or walk forever or something like that. I don't know, but taking away buttons can be detrimental to understanding stuff too. I don't know.
Yeah, with the way games are designed today, I think you'd be hard pressed to take anything off the controller right now. You'd have to really rethink what types of games you were making and how they controlled if you started yanking buttons out of there. So I don't think that'll happen. But but that seemed like that was the general thought for a while, was like, hey, just these controllers are a barrier. It's why Nintendo went with the Wiimote and all this other stuff.
Yeah, true.
Let's see. Meg writes in and says, do you have any games that you strongly associate with music that has nothing to do with them? For example, Queens of the Stone Age was constantly on the radio the summer I played through Link to the Past on the GBA, and I can't experience either without thinking of the other one.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah. I have my kind of standard answer for this. That is like when I played Lode Runner in or around 1984, Van Halen. I bought Van Halen 1 on tape and listened to that all summer long while playing Lode Runner. And so those two things are very much together in my brain.
I strangely associate Alanis Morissette's Ironic to Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo. I was playing one time and my friend and I just started belting it out as we were playing, and it was fun. And it's there now. That's
nice.
Where it lives.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
Okay. I remember now. Okay. My best friend and I oddly got really into the PS2 game Cold Winter, which is like just an FPS. We just got really into the multiplayer of that, and we were also really into Linkin Park's Meteora. So we would like sing, rap, faint, and numb at each other, and then play fucking Cold Winter. It was great.
Sick.
That's living right there.
Yeah. Why does Mike Shinoda have to disappoint me now, though?
I know. Yeah. It's just an absolute clown move. David from New York writes in with some details about, just like, hey, you might be interested to hear how VR is starting to be used in the enterprise and business world in a very serious way. I think we talked about it before that, like, VR has definitely got some purposes there in the commercial world. And David says, I work for a company that sells software and consulting services to the architecture, engineering, and construction industries, mainly Autodesk and other ancillary tools and programs, the most significant of which would be tools for rendering and visualization. Yeah. I have been working with several major architectural firms recently, introducing them to VR headsets and some of the tools available to interface with their design software. At the most basic level, these tools allow a designer to jump into the building they're working on in real time to do things like see how different materials look applied to a surface, add notes for field teams to check up on, and observe how the sun and other light sources interact at different times of day. Huh. That's neat. He says, this is all pretty neat stuff, but kind of gimmicky to face value. It wasn't until I was working with a firm doing a redesign of a wing for a major hospital that I truly saw the value. We brought in several nurses and techs and asked them to put on a VR headset and navigate the space we were designing. In this case, it was a patient exam room, as if they were performing an exam. Immediately, we started to get extremely valuable feedback. It would be better if the sink were on this side so I don't have to reach over the patient. The cabinets should open this way and not that way because it will interfere with access to X, Y, or Z. I'm left-handed, which makes it very awkward to access tools on this side, and so on. Being able to get this kind of feedback at this stage in the process is truly invaluable and lets us get ahead of these sorts of things before you end up in a room in a building thinking to yourself, man, did anybody even think about this while they were designing it?
Yeah.
That's excellent. I love that.
That's cool.
I have a friend that works in product design and like does like AutoCAD and stuff like that and they make specifically the displays that go at the end of supermarket aisles and stuff like that for various products.
Oh, sure.
And they have like some sort of proprietary AR app on their phones, and she showed me her work, and it's just like, oh, here's a thing I made. She popped open her phone and it was like in my living room, and it's just like, oh, this is dope. Like you can see how big this is and how it looks, and like that's so cool.
Yeah, just like plop it down in a real supermarket and go like, this doesn't look right. Yeah, like
yeah.
That's
Cool.
cool. Let's see here. Christopher writes in from Michigan and says, "Hey guys, with all the talk about a new Mario Kart game being in development with a new twist on the game, that was a story that kind of went around. The analyst said, "Hey, I think they're making a new Mario Kart." Like, wow, really? Oh. One of the maybe their best-selling game of all time, perhaps.
Who'd have thunk?
But that it has a new twist, and then didn't really have details on that, which has led people to go like, "What could the new twist be?" Christopher thinks, "Do you think Nintendo could be developing a Switch VR add-on that would allow you to plug in your Switch to a VR headset and maybe Mario Kart in first-person mode? We've already seen that the Switch can do VR things thanks to the Labo kit, and I feel like this would add a whole new twist to the game." What do you think? You think Nintendo gets into VR at this point?
No,
I just can't.
This is clearly the PS1 Neogon.
The Negcon, yeah, the twist, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's obviously what it is.
Yeah.
I just don't see how they power it with the current Switch hardware. Like I realized they MacGyvered it with Labo, but like, come on, that thing.
It's not the
doing that.
idea of like plugging a headset into a Switch and then running it off of it, like it's just not a level of power that would be super conducive to doing that, and not super conducive to Nintendo's approach to video games. The kind of family-oriented multiplayer nature of their stuff. When they do make multiplayer games, like it really is that family-focused thing. And I think VR is the most family-unfriendly technology, maybe of the last decade.
For sure.
And I'm sure that there are plenty of people at Nintendo that I remember we were at the Oculus booth at E3, and as we were taking off, Miyamoto and his posse were showing up to check some stuff out. And, so like, of course they know what it all is. I'm sure they've dabbled and fucked around, especially with the Labo stuff, and thinking about like, oh, there was some firmware thing in one of the Switch firmwares. I don't know if it's still in there or not, but like as people were kind of hacking the Switch and looking at it and stuff, that they found something that looked like it was some kind of 2i mode for the Switch, like you might drop it into a cardboard,
Right.
Google Daydream, whatever it is, and that use that with lenses to kind of do some makeshift VR stuff. But they obviously never truly pulled the trigger on anything like that, and it's just not. Yeah, Jan's got it.
If only they had a system with 2 screens, huh? Dual screens.
Right?
You could just slap that bad boy in front of your face.
Yeah.
Keep dreaming.
Destroy your eyes. It'll never happen.
I'm trying to imagine what a VR Mario Kart would be like, and my initial reaction is like, holy shit, that's cool. But then I was like, wait, like functionally speaking, how difficult would it be to drive, to keep track of your items, to throw them accurately at people, to navigate?
Is that
it's like,
fun in the way that Mario Kart is fun? Like, no, it's a different thing.
It sounds cool, but I'm thinking like of the actual physicality of it, and it's like, man, this seems like you'd be juggling so much stuff, and you wouldn't be able to actually have fun with it. So
I bet that game exists, right? Someone surely has made a kart racer in VR that does a lot of that type of stuff by now. I'm sure some studio went like, what if we did a Mario Kart? And then they made their weird knockoff. Whether it's
we were also just talking about how, like, it's too hard to drive a car and use a gun. So it's like, how hard would it be to drive a car and use a shell in a way that isn't already exactly how Mario Kart does it?
I think in VR, that's actually like, if you have a wide enough field of view that you have peripheral vision, I think it does become a little bit easier to kind of go like, okay, I can look over here for a second, do this because I can see the road ahead. It's the perspective of, especially of like a GTA car thing, where like to see out the side of a car in GTA, you pivot the entire camera and have no peripheral view of what's ahead of you anymore in a way that's just like unmanageable. But like VR theoretically gives you, your head is literally on that swivel that you could sort of do it.
And I guess like with Mario Kart, some items just track to the nearest fellow
like
racer.
if it's one of the one of the red shells and stuff like that, then like that wouldn't be much of a problem. But
Yeah, or you could just still make that a button for just like I throw a banana behind me. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be you turn around and drop it, but like those interactions are what makes VR interesting and exciting. Is like I did it like I would do it.
I mean, technically, this kind of already exists in Universal Studios Japan with Mario Kart Koopa's Challenge, but you know, you're on a track. You're not controlling your own car, like literally. So this is kind of like that, but even more control. I don't know. I could see like a tie-in game for that ride, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't think I don't think Nintendo's just philosophy for how they make games works with VR. I don't think it's something that fits with just how when I think about the way that I've been led to believe over the years, and especially lately, the way Nintendo thinks about the market, the way that Nintendo thinks about its audience, VR is such a closed off thing.
Yeah.
Like even Sony tried to do their like social screen stuff where they're like, hey, oh, you can watch this on a TV and still enjoy, which is like super smart. Or like, hey, you're playing this asymmetrical thing where some people are playing on the TV and one person's playing in VR. But like that's still such a closed off lockdown thing. It's just not what Nintendo is about. And it's not to say that they will never experiment with any kind of VR thing, but like especially right now on the Switch, like no, that's probably not something we'll see anytime soon.
So what do you think the twist is then that they're implying they're going to do?
Submarines. I don't know. They've already done flying cars and boats, right? Did they do boats in the last one? Like, I could see it being something like that, or maybe it ties in with the AR stuff they did with the Knockout City devs.
Yeah.
That did that stuff.
Lowriders.
There you go. Yeah,
You just Smash characters.
Again, hitting switches.
Yeah.
Smash characters in Mario Kart. Let's get Joker in there.
That would be super smart at that point. I think if they like expanding the character base in the way that they've done with Smash, I think would be really fun for that.
Yeah.
Especially if you think about it, just how popular Mario Kart is. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not do it?
Sure.
Banjo and Kazooie could be in there. They could make their own car.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, nuts and bolts.
Nah.
Do it.
Wanted to like it.
Okay. Simon from the Netherlands writes in and says, while watching Awesome Games Done Quick 2022, which is on right now, I noticed one of the donation prizes was a set of Pac-Man themed scented candles. My partner and I were musing on what Pac-Man scented candles should smell like, and it got me wondering, what do you think these classic game themed scented candles should smell like?
Pac-Man.
What do Pac-Man smell like? What's Pac-Man?
It should smell like that smell when you open up a fresh can of tennis balls.
Oh.
I think
That's how it should
Pac-Man.
smell.
I think Pac-Man should smell like a pizzeria arcade.
Yeah, no,
That's a better answer.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a cheesecake for some reason.
No. Yeah.
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah. Arkanoid. What does Arkanoid smell like?
Like hot
Ozone.
hot metal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ozone.
like the coldness of space and also pills.
Yeah.
What was it? I feel like I read.
Like
I feel like I read
Flintstones?
something. Yeah. Oh, that like fibery, weird.
It's like
I know
some red ones, some green
like
ones.
a sharp smell almost.
Like
you know what I
a
mean?
artificial cherry.
Yeah.
I feel like I read something recently that described the smell of space, and it was not pleasant.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
like when
Ah.
you go outside in the cold. Like
Space.
I want space to smell like a cold winter day, and it
Okay.
doesn't.
I found that astronauts have reported smelling burned or fried steak after a spacewalk.
Delicious.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
But burned, huh? Ugh.
Yeah, like burned, like sulfur, ammonia, like burn smell,
Yeah.
rotten eggs.
Ugh,
burnt
this room
steak.
smells like space.
Ugh, gross. This room does smell like space. Oh, Donkey Kong. What's Donkey Kong smell like?
Wet dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say like a hot patio, like a hot deck. You know what I mean? Like a deck
wet
that's
dog
been baking in the sun.
A wet dog that's bringing you a banana in its mouth.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But it's just like
Yeah.
banana runts.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a wet dog, but it's wet because someone poured a bottle of 99 bananas on it.
Yes,
Right.
that is the smell. That is the smell. Yes.
Someone call.
Oh God.
Someone call animal control.
Yeah, no, that's a crime being committed right there.
This is why Giant Bomb should have candles, a candle line.
No, this is why we should not.
Yeah, I don't
We're,
think we should
we're
be
too
allowed.
smart. We gotta have these
Just
these
be
joke
space,
candles.
like these all be space candles.
Space
Uh,
candles.
Donkey Kong, the Donkey Kong cereal was just bootleg Captain Crunch.
Yep.
Totally.
So
Yeah, everyone knew that.
yeah, so I think of that. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Chili
Oh
dogs.
shit!
Chili dogs.
Yeah, chili dogs, or I would associate it with pasta. 'Cause you remember the Sonicos?
Oh
Island
fuck
Oh
yeah!
yeah,
I do.
SpaghettiOs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
we go.
hmm
Okay.
I was gonna say blue Slurpee or blue icy.
Yeah, I like that
Mm.
too.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
that's valid.
for Sonic 3 they put out lifesavers that are a blue raspberry flavor.
Ooh.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
They did do that.
I got 2 rolls of them out in the garage.
Holy shit!
I smell fresh cut grass when I think of Sonic.
Oh,
Okay.
that's nice.
Green Hill Zone, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
What about
this is
wet
Sonic 2.
dog that someone poured 99 bananas over?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Okay.
There you
The
go.
Legend of Zelda. What does the Legend of Zelda smell like?
Now that's cut grass for me.
Yeah,
It's
Broken
like cut
pots.
grass, fresh
Smells like
water.
chickens.
Play-Doh.
just a countryside, like a what's a medieval smell, like an elf smell.
Ass.
What's-
Oh,
yeah.
medieval smell, like actual human.
It's
No one
decay.
showers.
Yeah. Before soap.
Yeah.
No,
That's
this
what
is a
it smells like,
fantasy. A beautiful fantasy. It has to smell like beautiful fantasy smells.
Mm. It's
Well,
like
I think-
a
I think that-
lavender, like a
I think
lilac.
that world.
Yeah.
I think that world has too many like really distinct biomes. Then I think like they would
Oh.
smell different. Like Death Mountain would smell like sulfur.
It smells like
ash,
space.
and
Mm.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario
Gerudo
Kart.
Valley.
Rubber.
Gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, rubber,
Gas.
yeah.
Oh, the sweet smell of gasoline. Oh.
Rubber and like fried mushrooms.
Okay. Yeah. Leisure Suit Larry.
Ugh!
Oh. Cheap perfume.
Like that coconut suntan lotion smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Like a little bit of like a cheap bourbon smell, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just put a
Cigarish.
strip club smell in there. you
Yeah.
know.
Oh.
It's just an Axe body spray candle. Sleeper Suit Larry.
Yeah. And lastly, Contra. What does Contra smell like?
Ooh,
BO.
smells like a man.
Yeah. Like BO and gun oil.
Yeah.
And also
Gunpowder.
gun oil.
Like an auto shop, but in space.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I could
Thank
do
you.
this all day. Send
Yeah.
in more of these.
Well, that's all. Thank you, Simon, for that. Tom wrote in with this big long thing. Tom's in central New Jersey.
Okay. What's up, Tom?
And he sends in this off-topic email that we could. Says, have you heard the albums Zen Arcade and Double Nickels on the Dime by the bands Husker Du and Minutemen, respectively? They are seminal records that are nearly 40 years old by a label and tour mates that are sonically very different, but of the same punk and independent cloth. These bands are long gone, but they made music that I feel holds up, and unlike a great many music acts that have come and gone, won't embarrass you. I guess I'll start with that. Have you heard of these bands and or albums?
Absolutely.
Yes, the Husker Du for sure.
Yes.
The
And
Minutemen
I listen
know,
to a lot of
but-
Minutemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Double Nickels on the Dime is, if you don't know, that's where the Jackass theme comes from.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that album?
I would and for something like a Husker without a Husker Du,
Husker
there's probably no Green Day. There's probably no Blink or any of those bands for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, I'll agree with that. Okay, anyway, the reason I ask is because I got caught up on a previous Bombcast where you discussed the merits of a new Limp Bizkit release.
Whoa.
I tune into your show for games talk foremost, but there's plenty of off-topic chat I roll with, even when it's over my head or not my thing. In my pedantic opinion, no one ought to know how many Limp Bizkit albums there are, much less have them ranked. That act and its dunce frontman, that act and its dunce frontman are absolute dregs, and it's too bad you guys don't seem to agree.
As an older, nearly 40 listener, I have mostly made peace that there's a fair bit of music that's not from me, and that's more than fine. Apologies for telling you how to act and talk in your own club, but it would be cool if you reconsidered this.
All right.
I love the idea that Tom in Jersey is so fucking pissed that people might like Limp Bizkit. I was like that once.
It's amazing.
Yeah, my first magazine job, I worked with a guy that was a big Bob Mould fan, Husker Du and whatnot. And it was never really my thing. I gave Zen Arcade a try because it is obviously such a cited so often as like this very important record, but I just never really got too into it. Minutemen's a little more my speed. Double Nickels on the Dime's a pretty good record.
Mm-hmm.
It's no chocolate starfish in the hot dog flavored water, but what are you gonna do? I mean,
I understand this now. Okay.
Yeah. I just love. Thank you, Tom, for writing in. I'm sorry, and also I'm not sorry at how pissed you are about people liking Limp Bizkit.
Love your passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't lose that.
But also, nothing he said was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I as someone who has never and will likely never be a Limp Bizkit fan, I still understand.
I would also say I am not a Limp Bizkit fan, but this last record, I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like I cannot understand it myself, but at the same time, I can expand my thinking in a way where it's like, okay, I guess I know why there's Limp Bizkit fans. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they both have to coexist, those two ideas, yeah.
And I think a lot of the Limp Bizkit kind of come back along with some of the Korn stuff. It's really interesting to me because it's always like the fandom for it now seems to be coming from people that are significantly younger than I am. And I was 20 in 1995. So, in 96, 97, like through the back half of the 90s there, I was in the front half of my 20s as that stuff was happening, and was disgusted by most of it. Speaking as someone who was in a band rapping with a full band, much like a Limp Bizkit may have been doing, I was still disgusted by Limp Bizkit, and the way they were doing it.
Yes. I think the charted on a line graph, the hatred for Limp Bizkit is certainly front loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Like that begins to taper down as time goes on.
Definitely.
But did it spike at the top?
Oh God,
right
yes,
there.
Yes, absolutely. It was just like, oh fuck these people.
Yes,
like, this is an affront to my sensibilities as a hip hop fan.
And God forbid that summer, I feel like when they blew up, God forbid I wore a backwards red hat.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Then nothing.
And I guess maybe at the time I perhaps shared some kind of likeness with that dude, but my gosh.
Yeah, we hate ourselves most of all when we see it reflected back upon us. I think at the end of the day is the lesson learned there. I think, but separated from a lot of that shit, I think it's a lot easier to listen to those records and be like, that was a fun time in a lot of ways. It was very dumb. It was very dumb in a way that things are not now.
I'm coming to terms with something right now, and it's really, honest to God, hurting my head.
I gotta hear this. You are struggling.
You look stressed.
In that I have a soft spot for Limp Bizkit because of the wrestling packages that get made, right? Like Roland,
My Way package is fucking a mind blower.
Exactly. So I'm going to throw this out to everyone here, and this is a safe space in our little club here.
Okay.
Is Imagine Dragon the new Limp Bizkit? Because I enjoy some Imagine Dragons songs, Dragons, because of that one, their song Monster that played over that Daniel Bryan package.
Yeah, you're more right than you are wrong here.
I mean, you're right because I fucking hate Imagine Dragons. Holy shit.
But to his logic, to our current logic that we're sort of unpacking, that means in 20 years we're gonna look back and be like, you know what? Fucking Imagine Dragons now that they came out with that new record that's just called
It's gonna happen. It's
you
gonna
know,
happen.
Climb, you know, whatever. Instead of they went for right, like whatever it is, their fucking one-word song that they did.
It will not happen. I will not allow it.
Because we hated them back in 2015.
We're gonna look
We
back at Radioactive fondly, just like how people fondly look back at Roland.
But like, think about how much further the world is going to have to decline for us to look back on the fucking radioactive days. It's like, yeah. I mean, yes, and we're on that fucking track. So maybe you're fucking right.
It's gonna happen.
When we're out in the fucking wastelands eating fucking radioactive fucking worms to stay alive, and you're like, radioactive. Remember that song? Yeah, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. They cut some sick footage to that. They did.
They did. The Limp Bizkit song that I think of when I think of that era is, especially of their wrestling era, was the year that they performed the song "Crack Addict," which I don't think ever got really. The only copy I have of it has Jerry Lawler shouting over part of it because it was ripped out of a fucking WrestleMania broadcast. But it's the song where he says, "I'm a crack addict." That's right, I'm a crack addict. I'm a crack addict. I'm addicted to cracking skulls when punks start static.
Yeah. Can't have those punks start.
And that's just classic. That's just classic stuff. Just classic stuff.
Don't forget as well that Limp Bizkit, and more specifically Fred Durst, had a series of unexplainable events that all chained together and parlayed in a way that benefited his persona and therefore the band. He had this weird thing come out where like all of a sudden he was no longer the villain of Woodstock 99.
Yeah.
Where like everyone was like, you know what? Fred Durst didn't fucking make those fires. It was the organizers and it was the chaos and it was all the bad people there. He's the good guy. And then you had Mr. Korn come and defend him.
Yes,
come to his aid.
Korn.
Mr. Korn.
John Korn.
I concur. He's an innocent man. And then they like shadow drop this brand new record that everyone's like, this is not deplorable. And
yes,
that's it.
The Limp Bizkit fucking image rehabilitation. Like whoever did Crisis PR for Limp Bizkit, give him a raise.
So he, you know, like he just sort of like leapfrogged over those little things and skipped along, and bam, that's how you spin a positive PR situation in 2021/22.
And now he's in NFTs, so fuck that guy.
What if they go into the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame?
They're the WWF's favorite band, so I would think it would make perfect sense for them to go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, they would have to at some point, right? I mean, that's only.
Can I admit a dirty little secret about
Limp
Bizkit?
Bizkit?
Please
go ahead.
My favorite Limp Bizkit song, if I had to choose, would be the Faith cover.
Oh, this is disgusting. There's a lot of things I will feel better about when it comes to Limp Bizkit now than I did then, but that fucking Faith cover is not on the list.
Damn it.
But that Behind Blue Eyes cover, there's something that.
Nope.
Live with that.
All right. Fair enough.
I don't want to.
Wes Borland's side project was always cool. Let's see here. Final one here from Chris and Philly. Last week you discussed how the word biome had replaced the word level in modern discussion of games. It made me stop and think, what is a level and why do we even use that word?
Because
1-1 and 1-2.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And to delineate progress in a game. And here we are.
It was not the standard in the arcade days. There was a lot of different use. There were a lot of different terms in use there for a while before level kind of shook out because we had stages, screens. When games were like single screen, like a Donkey Kong, you definitely, they called it a kill screen, not a kill level. And you also had racks.
Oh, wow.
Some games would say this is rack 4.
Oh.
I can only think of one game that used that. I think it was called Rip Off. Was the game, but it's like you can skip a rack if you do this certain little thing, and they just referred to their levels as racks for whatever reason.
Weird.
Interesting.
and you had stages, screens, levels, racks. I think that might be it. I'm trying to think if there's one other one from that era that was in wide use, but yeah, I think level just won out as games transitioned home to consoles and stuff like that. You probably had, because on the Super Mario screen it does not say level, it says World 1
Right.
1. So I don't know if the term level is ever used in game there.
It just became like the adopted vernacular, like
Yeah.
it just sort
Just
of
won out against all that
Yeah.
other stuff. Screen didn't make sense because games were multiple screens. Stage.
It's already
Shooters
taken
would use
by
stages.
theaters.
Yes, exactly.
Like theater. I feel like level also denotes progress because it's like when you, like in a way
Oh,
that it's
like you're
just like,
going
this
up.
is, you're going up, you're ascending. This is high level gameplay. Like it's a measure of your skill
Is that
level.
what that means?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
oh god,
I think it linked up with that etymologically in a more satisfying way than like screen or stage.
My head
did.
hurts this week.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of new thoughts in the old brain.
That's why we're here.
There,
New
Dan.
thoughts. This is the new thought zone.
Incredible
New thoughts, old brains.
New thought.
Same-ish site.
That Limp Bizkit record is okay. New thought. All right. That's going to do it for emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is where you should send yours if you want to berate us about any classic records that we should be listening to instead of other stuff, I guess.
Or quiz us on candle flavors.
Yes.
Made up things. I like
Exactly.
Smell, yeah.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I think the music conversation is really interesting right now because it's like, I think about this a lot. Everyone has access to everything all the time now. And you don't have to listen to the radio to find out what's hot, and old music doesn't go away or get relegated to some classic station anymore. Like it's all kind of right there at your fingertips all the time in a way that's like really insane. It's a trip, bro. I mean, I'm just saying, bro, like if you sit and fucking think about it, man, it's a fucking trip, man. You ever fucking think about it's like all right fucking there, bro? But no, it's like, it's...
I think that makes it so that I don't engage with any of it. Like all this music talk is going straight over my head because I'm just like, it's everywhere.
There's
like,
so much. Where do you begin? What matters? What doesn't? Like, people used to like being told what to listen to.
Yeah,
to a certain
little
extent,
bit, yeah.
And the people that didn't like that, they listened to alternative music. That's why they called it that.
People liked having to work for it too. People liked going to the record store, seeing someone who dressed like them. I was like, oh, what are you fucking picking up?
Right.
That kind of thing.
That was I feel like it was a much more honest and interesting approach to the whole fucking, oh, you're not up on this shit, because you had to go out and do some research, not just like, oh, I got hit in the shoe lottery and I've got these shoes and you don't.
Yeah.
Like there was some you used to have to go to the good record stores to buy imports because fucking, oh, there's this weird B-side that they only put out on the Japanese release and this and that, like all this other crazy shit. Like being into music was a lot harder before.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. And it's expensive.
Japan always got the cool shit. Why they always get the cool shit?
Japan always like those albums always like, oh, here's 3 extra tracks for the Japanese version. Why? Because fuck you, America. I'm like, all right.
Now it's
also,
just now it's all free and all everywhere, and I don't know where to start, so I don't start anywhere. It's just overwhelming.
Old games the same way. Emulation has turned everything into all of like the digital abundance of everything makes it incredibly hard to know where to begin with everything. It's why the role of a curator is so valuable these days in some cases. Someone you can trust to help you navigate through this insane world of acquisitions and nonsense. So come back next week for more of that here at the Giant Bombcast. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.